of crazy around here the past couple of days with all this rain moving in. It's our schedules going every which direction, but I'm just glad I found time to be on the air with you.
Yes, thanks for coming on today. And what kind of baseball practice do you guys have going on today?
Well, yeah, right now we're pretty limited to what we can do, and with the buildings and stuff, with students. A lot of our other buildings that we would use are used for students for Zoom classes or just kind of that social distancing type thing. So it's really limited what we can do. We're only in groups about 4 to 5 right now. We really hadn't had a team practice yet, and even with weights, we're only limited to about 10 to 12 guys in the weight room at each time. So it is hectic, and he's got to be flexible, and it's a different time. But we're getting our work in, and we're preparing for the spring the best we can right now.
What is a typical day right now at Murray State University for you?
Yeah, it's a lot different than what it was this time last year, I can tell you that. A lot of my classes, I have 5 classes scheduled, and 2 of them only meet once a week in class. And even then, you'll have normally 25 students in a class to where now it's, maybe 5 to 10 people in a classroom because that's all we can fit with all the guidelines and protocols that we have to do. And, it's kind of a bummer not being on campus as much as you would like, just because all the classes are on Zoom, everything's online, everything's shifting to that level of things, and it's a lot of baseball after that in the afternoons, and a lot of study hall, and then there's sometimes that we don't leave the locker room until 7 or 8 at night just because of all the other sports having to stretch their days out in the weight room, in the locker rooms. There's only so many people who can be there at a time, so a lot of our days are being stretched out a lot longer than we would like, just because there's only so many people that are allowed in the facilities.
Yeah, and typically you guys would be having some sort of fall baseball schedule, right? But you can't do that this year. Right,
yeah. I think the first day I think we can have team practice is sometime later on in September, but I don't think the NCAA or the OVC has really came out and given us anything as far as the guidelines of what we can do as far as scrimmages. I know we can't play any games like we did against Rend Lake or Frontier. I know we can't do any of that, but I don't know what they're going to do as far as team practices and as we come back together as one. I have no idea what the protocol will be like for that. So it's kind of a waiting game right now.
But one good thing, at least for you, because of the COVID-19 situation, you get an extra year of eligibility there at Murray State.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest plus that you can take out of that. This is my 3rd year at Murray, which I would normally have been a junior, but now since it's going on, I'm a redshirt sophomore, which gives me an extra year. So I have another 3 years of eligibility. But that's one of those things that I'll have to take in consideration. It just depends on where I am academically and if I want to get my master's and just a lot of different things that variables can go in there and what I want to do with that extra year. But yeah, that's one of the positives. We have a lot of guys that came back this year. We have a lot of returners, a lot of veterans. There's a lot of 6-year guys now because there's a lot of guys that redshirted maybe their freshman year and now they got redshirted again on their senior year. So there's a lot of talent and a lot of leadership that came back into our group, and I'm really excited to get back on the field with these guys because, like I said, last year, we won 3 of our first 4 series, and we were attacking guys, and we was on a good roll. And just to see these guys come back and have an extra year is definitely exciting and encouraging for us in the spring.
Yeah, you guys were actually lined up to have a really good spring, and like you say, you should be loaded for this coming season.
Yeah. Like I said, I came out and kind of echoing on you, Todd.
You still there, Shane?
Yeah. You still hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. Like you said, it's just real promising. I think some of the guys we're going to play with this year to come back and have just the depth. I think that's kind of the biggest thing that our coaching staff's looking at is the depth we have. And, coming out, and I think we're going to play Arkansas in our first couple series of the year, so that should be exciting to kind of see where we stand at. Going down there and playing in that atmosphere is definitely going to be something exciting for us.
Well, and it is Tiger Day here at WPKY, and you played a lot of baseball as a Tiger, played some football as a Tiger, even on the basketball team for a little while. What are maybe some of your favorite memories from your time playing sports here at Caldwell County?
Yeah, definitely this time of year, it's Friday night football. It's one thing that people around our area love and always will love because the support we always get through our athletic programs. But I tell you what, there's nothing like strapping up your helmet and taking the field that Friday night, whoever may be across you, but it's something special. I definitely miss the football atmosphere, and it's always good around this time of year.
Well, and you played baseball for a long time. Didn't you start as an 8th grader on the Tiger baseball team?
I believe so. I think my 8th grade year, I think I got some innings on the mound, and I think I played a little first base when my brother pitched. So that was definitely cool and unique to play with those guys at that level as an 8th grader for sure.
Well, and talk about the success you guys had in the time that you were on the Tiger baseball team. I mean, a couple of regional championships and a whole lot going on.
Yeah, no, it was definitely something special, and we knew the group that we had. My class especially, we had 6 or 7 guys that were college athletes, and whether it was baseball or football or whatever the case may be. So we knew that we had the talent, and just coming up from like you said, playing in 8th grade all the way through senior year, that was always a goal that we had is to win championships. That's the only thing that we really knew it was to go out and compete and win. And that's what Coach Dallins always, told us, to go out there and have that bulldog mentality. And we're always having that target on our back. I think that's another point of emphasis that he always told us, after that first regional title, sophomore year, we always had that target on our back the last 2. And, winning those 2 regional titles and winning district titles and going to state, definitely was special to me. And I know it's special to this community, and I would go back in a heartbeat if we could, but that's not the circumstance. So I definitely enjoyed my years as a Caldwell County athlete, and always cherish those moments.
Well, now that you're at Murray State, what are you kind of working toward, and what's your progress been the first couple of years there?
Yeah. I've said this over and over again. Playing at the college level is a different animal. At this level, everybody's just so good. It's hard to get on a roll. Sometimes you might have 2 or 3 good starts, and then that 4th start, you might get hit around the ballpark. So you really got to be good with your game, your craft, and everything. And here, it's one of my goals always as a kid is to get drafted. That's one thing that I've always looked at, watched baseball, watched the pros. It don't matter where you are in life. You always have goals and dreams and stuff, and that's kind of been one of my biggest dreams is to get picked up and get drafted, be a free agent, just have some type of career after this. And if that happens, great. If that it doesn't, that's also great as well. I'll have my academics to back that up. And that's my biggest thing is getting my college paid for and really getting my feet wet with career opportunities in the future. But, it's definitely always a dream of mine to play professional baseball for sure.
Okay, now that we've got that out of the way, the big question, how much golf have you been playing?
I played 1 round down here at Miller with one of my buddies, and I think we both shot in the mid-80s. So I've played 1 round since I've been down here in about a month, so I haven't been playing as much as I'd like, but, everything was going on between baseball and school. It's not as much time for golf as you think.
So I can play with you some now. Then you've got enough rust that I can play with you a little bit.
Maybe so. If I come home in the next week or 2, maybe we can go out to the golf course and see where we stand at. But I definitely tell you, there's definitely going to be rust on the game right now.
Well, Shane, I appreciate your time, and we'll take you up on that golf offer as soon as you get back in. We'll go out and hit it around, and good luck there at Murray State, and good luck with the weights and the baseball practice.
Yeah, appreciate it, Todd. Thanks for your time.
That is Shane Burns, former Caldwell County Tiger, now left-handed pitcher at Murray State University, going to be one of their top pitchers on the Racer staff next spring. This is Tiger Day here on 1580, 103.3 WPKY. More to come. Stay with us here on WPKY.
Calling all Tiger fans, drop by our WPKY studios today and show your Tiger pride. Share your story with us. Tiger Day on 1580, 103.3 WPKY. don't try, they win. The greatest comeback of all time. Tiger Day. Donate online at our loyal listener Big Deal store or stop by our studios at WPKY.
1580, 103.3, WPKY. Tiger Day continues. Todd Griffin in the WPKY studios, and a lot of the Lady Tiger volleyball team in here with us. First of all, Coach Daniel Cortner is with us. And, Coach, how are things going as you guys get ready for the season?
Pretty good. We're really excited. We're almost tired of practicing each other already. It happened a little bit quicker than normal. They haven't been on the floor in so long. They're just really ready to mix it up with some new opponents. So we're about a week away from that.
But you guys haven't gone against each other as much as you would in a typical preseason.
In a typical preseason, no, but with our returning depth and our returning players, it was same, stepped on the floor and never really missed a lick.
Also with us today, Olivia Mitchell, Abby Griggs, Kendyll Prowell, and what kind of season you guys going to have?
Hopefully a good one. I mean, we're all pretty old in the team, so we're just ready to get on the court again. That's
Olivia, and all-state player returning from last year. What do you guys have to do this season to reach your goals?
Just work together as a team. I think we're pretty solid on that. So,
what kind of season are you looking for individually? What do you hope to accomplish?
I'm still working on 2,000 kills, but I mean, with the season cut short, it might be a little bit of a challenge.
Okay. Abby, what are you looking at for this season?
Probably making All-State. That's my big goal this year for individual.
As a team, what do you guys have to do this year to have some success?
Just as long as we work together and keep our energy up the whole time, we shouldn't really have any problems.
What do you kind of see your role on the team as being?
I don't really know. I kind of feel like I just am kind of like the glue a little, like with Kendyll.
Well, Kendyll, what's your role on the team then?
I'm pretty bossy, so I feel like I'm a pretty good leader on the team. And if I'm feeling down, the whole team's going to be down. So Olivia and Abby are like my backup to get us back together. And Riley, she's not here today, but she also helps with that.
Well, these are kind of the big hitters, and you set them up, right? I mean, that's the whole game plan?
Oh, yeah.
Without her, we wouldn't even have our kills. And however many we have, we wouldn't have them without Kendyll. And without Riley, because without her sets, without Riley's passes, Kendyll wouldn't get her sets, and we wouldn't get our kills.
Well, Coach, how many plays do you guys run, and what's kind of the game plan for a typical match?
It really depends on who we're playing, what kind of blockers they have or defense. You go play some opponents that have a pretty good libero, you're going to want to try to stay away from them. Blockers, you're going to want to try to move back. The thing we've tried to add in the last couple of years is really a back row offense, is just to add that fourth hitter on the third blocker. So we, 10 years ago when I met the game, plays was not a word I understood. And now I realize there's different designs, there's different sets, different tempos is the big thing we push. So, we're probably up to 8 or 10 different options on any given rotation.
I guess the big question then, how good are you guys going to be?
Right now, we're going to be about as good as we show up that day. There's going to be so many differences from day to day, and different travel arrangements and different opponents to go play and things along those lines, potentially driving all the way out to EKU for a single elimination tournament. It's going to have to be mental preparedness and go, and that's something we've been working on. We're starting to scrimmage different times in practice. It's not just the end of practice where you've had an hour to get, pumped up and ready, so they can get used to that step on the floor and go mentality.
Olivia, how much does it help the team that you've all played together now for several years and you're all kind of coming back together?
It helps a lot. I mean, we have tight bonds as friends and tight bonds as teammates. So,
Abby, have you kind of noticed that in practice that you guys pick things up pretty quick?
Yes, because we've played with each other for literally 9 years. So,
yeah, Kendyll, do you know where everybody's going to be on the floor?
Yes, I think so. I hope I know.
One of the things she's gotten in a pretty good habit at is, if she's running off the floor, her favorite hitter is the one that's 20 foot behind her. And it's just a trust thing. Throw the ball up and just say, throw it behind me, and then turn around and say, you should have been there. And it's kind of getting to where your defense always looks for the opposing setter to take the easy way out. And she stopped doing that probably 2-3 years ago in club at saying, I'm going to go to the hardest option I got, whether it's where they rank in the hidden list doesn't matter. I'm gonna go to the best option I got, and it's usually the hardest one now.
Thank you, Erickson.
Well, you guys have had a lot of success the last few years. What have these players meant to your program?
There aren't words. When you go look, you and I had talked a lot about getting close to the 500 wins as a program. Some night I'm going to sit down and see if this particular class has taken a part in the most wins. And that's kind of what bothers me is I don't know if they'll be on the floor this year when we get to that milestone 500. And it almost is going to kind of cheat them for that because you all as a team have won, I'm at 120-something, so you've won just about that many. So, there's such a link in the success. There's such a link in taking the game the next level. And really the admiration across the state. When you hear Caldwell County and you go across the state, they know who they are, and they know their numbers, and they know what they bring on and off the court.
How limited have you guys been in practice because of the COVID-19 restrictions? Can you do everything now, or where are you at?
Not everything. We still have to stop 2 or 3 times during practice and clean the balls down and just kind of limit that. Water breaks are different because they're taking up the whole gym. But as far as getting to play 6-on-6 and things like that, we can do that now, which is a blessing. There are so many different schools across the state. I think Madisonville had their tryouts Friday, and that was the first time they had touched a ball since March. So, we have some better, which Caldwell County was a lot less of a COVID hotspot than Madisonville was. So, we've had some advantages and disadvantages.
How many times have you redone your schedule now for this season?
I am on doing Caldwell's for the 4th time. And also just being the role I am in the position with KVCA, I've probably helped another 15 to 20 schools hunt up matches and do tournaments. Last night about 11:30, Henderson County called and said they just got told they couldn't hold their tournament, and it had 7 teams in it. So quickly went on the phone trying to scatter those 7 teams out. There's 24 match limit, and right now we're at about 20 or 21. But we're playing every Tuesday, every Thursday, and then twice on every Saturday for 6 straight weeks. And that is way longer than I've ever asked the girls to play. And I'm a little bit concerned. I would rather be around 18 to 20 and feel rested and comfortable going into the postseason. But we've also got some youth we need to push up and get going. So I think last night when Henderson lost their tournament and then got told they couldn't go to Paducah, she was at 12 for a varsity season.
Girls, would you rather play more games or less games?
More.
Yeah.
Are there games you guys look forward to playing? Are there games on the schedule? Yeah, Henderson?
Always Henderson.
I heard Henderson.
We always look forward to that.
I always wondered if there were games you had on the schedule, the circle, that, hey, everybody, this one's the one we're ready for. Because you got Henderson County last year during the regular season.
But not during the
regional
tournament.
And couldn't get them at the regional tournament, but that's developed into a pretty big rivalry.
Yes.
Kind of the last 2 years in the regular season.
Yeah, and not the regional tournament.
They say Henderson, but you roll a ball out against, and it's certain people. Class A. They know the heritage of Class A, so they want to go do well against that. And then, who's coaching the other team? Is it a former club coach or former club teammates and things like that? They really like to go out and show out against them.
Were you guys able to do any kind of stuff over the summer to try to keep in volleyball shape for this year?
Condition ourselves.
Yeah,
We just had to better ourselves. We couldn't really do anything together.
Yeah.
So where are you guys at going into the season then? Are you about where you would like to be if all the COVID stuff hadn't hit?
I think so. It's kind of weird not having a team camp, which 2 or 3 years ago we didn't do one. So it's kind of weird not having a team camp or the bluegrass games. There's nothing that can substitute live play, live action. So you get into 6-on-6, you can do your best, but your lineup's always going to have some finicky holes or a rotation that doesn't work real well. So I'm pleased.
Season opener still next Thursday?
It'll be home against Hopkinsville. It's going to be freshman JV varsity. So, and again, they're still kind of working out how we're going to do the fans and things, but our gym is big enough. You can spread out pretty well.
Well, I was going to say, you might have to open both sides up this year to get everybody in.
Right. I know we're going to open up top behind our benches, and then both up top and down low on the chair back side.
What do you guys have to do this year to reach your goals?
Right now, get a hot start. We're going to be an advantage with our experience. I think our junior class is as confident as these girls were last year when they're juniors. So it's kind of a tradition. They've tasted it year after year, and they know what's expected when they get there.
Going into the district, you guys going to have any challenge this year? What is it now? 15 straight?
It's 14 or 15. I got in trouble last time I made a joke about that string. So I joked that it was older than some of our players. So we
almost.
Almost, but people in our district have taken sets off of us, almost every year. So you certainly don't ever overlook them. And this year, kind of our big thing is you're going to be playing back-to-back games on weeks and things. We kind of like to, as Coach Griggs always says, I play with my food. We don't just go out and put a team away. Go ahead, gobble them up, beat them 25-5, let's go get some ice cream and go home.
You've got an All-A Classic string going, too. Never lost a game in the regional All-A Classic. When is that this year, and do you have a schedule yet?
The 10th is it's a Saturday, somewhere around in there. You'd think I'd know it by heart by now. But it's going to be over in Livingston Central. It's going to be the region. We drew UHA first game, and then we'll play the winner of Crittenden and Livingston. From there, a different format this year, we're going to have sectionals. So we'll play the Region 1 winner at their site, which is probably either going to be Ballard Memorial, CCA, or Christian Fellowship, somebody along those lines. So we'll have to go to them and play, and then the middle of September October we'll drive to EKU for an 8-team single elimination tournament.
That All-A regional at University Heights, expecting a good year, so that's a pretty big match right out of the gate.
Yeah, they really, when you ask us what game do we look for, and we unanimously say Henderson. When you ask UHA what game do they look for, they unanimously say us. So we know we're going to take their best punch right off the bat.
The Henderson game in the regional last year, you get off to a 2-0 start, and then they come back and get you. Is that something that's kind of a driving force to get things going this year?
Yes.
Yeah. Kind of saw everybody shaking their head. So.
Yes.
Yeah, it still cost a few hours of tossing and turning.
Well, Henderson's had a good program, though. It's not like you guys went up there and lost to a team that wasn't very good. I mean, they're really good, and they've had the regional championships to prove it.
Right. Well, I've never held back on saying how well coached they are and how deep they are. They've got almost 4 middle school teams feeding into their high school team. We've got half our team is 7th and 8th graders. So there's difference of opinions, difference of routes to get to the same place. But, they have a player struggle. They just go to the end of the bench and get another one.
I talk about how successful the program has been, because I think you guys are averaging, like 25 wins a season? That's pretty impressive.
Well, first, we'd like to keep that streak alive this year. Kind of undefeated would be fun.
Yeah.
Be a little more challenging this year with the limit on games.
Maybe. Get up to Louisville and meet a few of the Catholic schools. We'll see.
Oh.
But the success is, on the court and off the court. In 2001, when Coach Stone started the team, she had a phenomenal group of now young women come into the program, and that set the standard. When they looked over their shoulder and saw what was coming in, they said, this is how you act to be a Lady Tiger. This is how you play. One of the things I'll always do is I'll sit the seniors down and say, what does your number, your jersey number, mean to you? And when you look back in a year or two, what player what attributes must that player have in order to wear your number and make you proud? I still open up the football, numbers and see who's wearing 35, and compare myself to them. And that's things that they get into is who's wearing my number now. So that's kind of sets the tone of what it means to be a Lady Tiger at the classroom. I mentioned a couple weeks ago that of our returning players were pretty close to 3.8, I think 3.79 or something, a team GPA.
That's pretty impressive. Yeah.
It's very impressive when you figure how many hours a week we're in a gym and things like that. I know we've got 3 who are ranked first in their class in class rank, so it's in the community, it's around, and things along those lines.
Anybody have anything else to add about the upcoming volleyball season?
Oh, we are selling masks and gaiters. We're out of gaiters right now, and they'll take about 3 weeks to get in, but you can contact any volleyball player or Miss Griggs at 270-963-1087.
All right. Anybody else?
No, just Thank you for all that the radio station's done.
Yes.
Thank you for the fundraising. You know, people, we hit the businesses up so many times. We're in every business every day. Today would be a great day for individuals who know they might not be able to go out and give $5 at a gate. Donate it here today. Go ahead and do that. And then, you know, all of us coaches are going to, and you know, through Sports Edge and the radio here, are going to do a phenomenal job of covering it. So you're going to see a lot of the games anyway. So go ahead and make that small donation today, and I promise you it gets used.
Appreciate you guys coming by today. Thanks for being here. Kendyll Prowell, Abby Griggs, Olivia Mitchell, Coach Daniel Cortner. Good luck to you guys this season.
Thank you.
Need to get to a break. Back after this on 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
More than history, it's a legacy. Tiger Day on WPKY. 1580, 103.3 WPKY. Princeton.
News, I'm Rich Dennison. White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows says there are areas of possible compromise as legislative leaders work on the latest coronavirus economic relief legislation.
And we agree on a lot of things. Let's go ahead and get a stimulus check into the hands of the American people. Let's do enhanced unemployment. Let's make sure that we have money for education in K through 12.
Democrats are proposing a $2.2 trillion package, but the White House is supporting $1.3 trillion in spending. The German government says tests show Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny was poisoned with Novichok.
Novichok is the same agent that was used to poison former Russian spy Sergei Skripal and his daughter in Britain.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. Navalny was flown to Germany after he fell into a coma following his suspected poisoning on a flight from Moscow last month. America is listening to Fox News.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Ace is the only national retailer that carries Benjamin Moore paint, which means the paint you trust and a huge selection of colors are right in your neighborhood. And right now, when you buy a sample of Benjamin Moore paint, we'll give you $5 off your next paint purchase. So if you're looking for award-winning service and a new look for your home, look no further than Benjamin Moore paint at Ace. Offer valid on gallons of Benjamin Moore, Clark & Kensington, and Royal Paint. Limit one $5 coupon on 1 gallon purchase at participating Ace stores only. See store for additional details and exclusions.
Hey, what do you want to da-da-da? I don't know. What do y'all think we should da-da-da? Well, what did we do yesterday? Yesterday. All the dolls feel like the same doll these days. I know. Like, is today Monday or Tuesday? Today is Thursday. Oh, no, I forgot to call my mom on her birthday. Oh, no. No.
These days, nothing is normal and everything is weird. But you could still save big when you switch to Progressive. That won't change. Not today or any day.
Quote today at Progressive.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Cozy Living Interiors and Boutique.
From the Weather Edge, this is a special weather advisory.
The National Weather Service has issued a flash flood watch for western Kentucky through early tomorrow morning. We do have a chance of showers and thunderstorms through early Friday, according to your Weather Edge Weather Center forecast. A high of 84 this afternoon. The watch in effect, we could see occasional showers and thunderstorms that produce up to 3 inches of rainfall through tonight, with locally higher amounts possible. Flooding of low-lying, poor drainage areas and creeks and small streams are likely. Some roads may become flooded as well. A 100% chance of showers continuing tonight, down to 71. 85 the high tomorrow, with a 70% chance of showers and thunderstorms. Again, a flash flood watch in effect for western Kentucky until 7 o'clock tomorrow morning.
There's an advantage in being the home team. You know who Emma Talley, Jake Lewis, and Pat Gates are. You've seen the wall around Butler Stadium and have heard of the Caldwell Crazies. Trice Hughes, we're your home team. Here's our home team deal of the week.
2019 Chevy Blazer. You take your pick, silver or gray. All-wheel drive Premier. Only $11,184.
Get this home team deal of the week at Trice Hughes. Find us on Highway 91 North, Princeton, or TriceHughes.com.
The greatest comeback of all time. It's Tiger Day on WPKY. Support our Caldwell County Tigers and drop off your donation at our studios on West Main Street in Princeton or online at our Big Deals page on WPKYonline.com. WPKY.
1580, 103.3 WPKY. Tiger Day continues. Thanks to everyone who's come by the studio today. Thanks for everyone who's dropped in in with a mic with us and sat down and chatted with us for a little while about Tiger sports. I wish we had a little more time with everybody, but it's been going great so far. And joined now by Caldwell County boys basketball coach Daniel Kukahiko. And Coach, thanks for coming by and sitting on the show with us.
Thanks for what you guys are doing. I've been listening to it most of the day. It's good stuff. Appreciate you guys doing this.
Well, and you're another one of those guys that you can look at Caldwell County sports a lot of ways. I mean, I'm sure you followed your dad around a whole lot when you were a little kid, and then you were a Tiger player, and now you're a Tiger coach.
Absolutely. I guess it means a little more when you have those three different points of view. You know, following Dad, he's coached football for as long as I can remember. He coached me, but before and after me, and then obviously playing multiple sports here, and then now coaching. It's just we live in a great community.
And your dad, Steve, was in earlier with Tess to kind of start the day. So there you go. We've kind of come full circle.
Absolutely. I just saw him drive by a while ago, headed to practice.
What kind of practice were you guys able to get in during that little window you had where you could maybe open the gym a little bit?
We got 1 week. We were in there, I think, for 3 days, and then we, got shut back down. And it is what it is. This is uncertain times for everybody. So if it means we can, have a little more of a, I guess I use the word normal season, then I'm okay with not being able to practice right now, even though I'd love to get in the gym. I know the guys want to get in the gym. And so, I was talking out there before we came in, our season last year wasn't really, we weren't affected by this at all. And the off season has been, pretty much destroyed by it. But, I felt for those, baseball, softball, track that weren't able to get their spring sports in. And then obviously the fall sports, hopefully they can have somewhat of a normal season going forward.
Well, and I really felt bad for Madisonville North Hopkins getting the second region championship. And I think we got through the regional tournaments and girls state started a little bit, but the Maroons, I thought, had a good chance to go up to state and make some noise and be playing for a long time. And now we'll never know.
Absolutely. It's the one thing that I heard most, and I thought that way as well, them winning the region again, and then, having a chance. I think the difference in the 2 years was the first year they were going for the first time in a while. They were, going to go, compete, and this year I think their mindset was we got a chance to win the whole thing, and to not, at least have that opportunity to go compete for that. I feel for those guys and those coaches, so hate that for them.
Well, and Madisonville had kind of built to that season. That was their big senior class. All 5 starters were seniors, and that's the season they were looking for. Hopefully at some point we've got a good group of young kids, and it'll be our season to do something like that.
I agree. It's something that I think every coach in the state of Kentucky, if you've been to watch the state tournament once at all, even online if you watched it, it's something very, very special, and to be able to have that. I think every coach wants to. It's definitely a goal on every coach's radar every single year to try to find a way to get to Rupp, so to speak.
Well, and that's one thing that, I've never been able to cover a Caldwell County basketball team at Rupp Arena. That's like the one thing in sports that I've never, quite gotten to do. I've been there for other games before, and, of course, I've seen the Tigers win state championships in football and other sports, have really good teams, but man, it would be sweet one time to be at Rupp Arena and see the Tigers come running out onto the courts.
Absolutely. It would be an awesome experience just to see that. And I really think, we talk about a lot of times the state tournament, and a lot of the smaller schools are just, the whole town shuts down, the whole student section's full, Rupp is full of lots of people because, it's tough for any school to get there, but especially a small school in a sport that's not classed.
Well, that's a big thing. You talk about the classes, and to get there, you have to beat the Henderson counties and the Hopkinsvilles and the Christian counties and the Madisonvilles and all those, UHA. It makes it really difficult to run through that gauntlet when you get to the regional tournament.
It does. And the thing about that, the regional tournament's a draw, it's not seeded, is, you're going to, no matter who you are, you're going to have to win 3 games. And sometimes you get the toughest draw. Sometimes you get a draw that's a little more manageable. But at the end of the day, those 8 teams that make the regional tournament are all high-quality teams. So it's going to be a dogfight every single night. But it's the fun, and, getting to the regional tournament is an accomplishment, but obviously that next level would be mean something a little more special.
Because 2 years ago, you guys had a really, really good team and got to the regional, beat Union County, really good Union County team. And then you found a University Heights team that was just loaded with one of the top players in the state in the semifinals.
Absolutely. We played, and, we went in against Union County and knowing that we had, we were right there with them. We thought we had a chance to do something really, really special. And, going to that Union County game, I remember the guys were so focused. The guys knew the game plan and knew what we had to do. We overcame some things in that game that probably nobody else, even saw. But I remember at halftime going in and talking, hey, we're right where we want to be. And then to find a way there at the end, you get down 8-10 points there in the fourth quarter, like 4 minutes to go, and then you find a way to crawl back from that. And it was exciting. And I think that, playing UHA the next, I guess, couple nights later, UHA was a good team, and we came in and gave it our best shot, but they were the better team on that night.
It's going to be a little different this winter, though, because probably going to be some limits on the number of people in the stands at a lot of these things, and that's what I always remember about those regional tournament games is just how many people pack those gyms, and it gets hot and it's loud, and to me that's the great thing about sports. I agree. There's nothing. I remember that atmosphere there, the Union County game, the first round of the region. It was phenomenal. And I go back to the All-A game against we're talking about Elijah going to be on the show here in a little while, or the day a little while at Dawson. That the floor sits down inside. That place was extremely packed, and there's nothing. You just can't. You can't really substitute. You can turn music up, but it doesn't do the same as having shoulder to shoulder people inside a facility and just knowing that they're all focused on what's going on that hardwood. So that's one of those things that it was kind of said for years, but fans really do have an impact on the outcome of games sometimes. Oh, they do. The players, they feed off that. I think it was Coach Miller was talking about it earlier, relating to the classroom. A teacher wants to be able to teach, not just online. They want to teach, in person and see students, and you feel off to interact. And I think a coach wants to be, in the gym with his players, and the same thing with the players and the coaches and the during a game. You want that atmosphere because it just makes it more fun. Oh yeah. Well, and looking forward to this season, what kind of team do you think you have coming back for this year? I say this every single year. The Tigers are going to look a lot different this year than they have any other year. And I say that every single year. We graduated, 6 seniors, all that were, contributors. Look at our, just going back to our banquet and looking at those things. Each senior led a different statistical category, which was, 6 seniors. You don't think that'll always happen, but it did. Those guys are on. They'll be successful in what they choose to do in their different paths. But, this year's team is going to definitely be a lot younger. We got roughly 2 guys coming back that had any varsity experience. You got Trip Branch, who's going to be a senior. Jabrion Spikes is going to be a junior. And we're going to rely on those guys. But we have, a lot of a number of guys that are kind of in the freshman, sophomore range that are going to compete for, and juniors too. That are going to compete for time. We'll have 2 seniors coming in. We'll have 3 or 4 juniors. We'll have some sophomores, some freshmen. Numbers aren't going to be great, but I think everybody, coming from our 2 seniors, Trip Branch and Mikey Hall, all the way down to even some 8th graders, could really push for time at the varsity level this year. Well, and you've got a little size to work with too, so the building blocks are kind of there. Absolutely. And, Trip and Jabrion, we're going to put a lot on their shoulders this year because they've been there before. You talk about that atmosphere. They've played in those atmospheres before, been a part of those teams. And the young guys, the thing I've noticed about them already, we brought up a lot of those guys last year, and they were on our varsity roster. Part of that was we wanted to fill those spots, but too because we felt like they could maybe even contribute last year. And so they're going to be, I think they're coming in the gym hungry with the mindset that they know they have an opportunity in front of them. And so we're excited about, getting in the gym and just, seeing those guys go out, get after each other. And a kid like Jabrion, that's a kid that doesn't back down from anybody, because last year you guys played Marshall County and Zion Harmon, their heralded recruit down there. there wasn't much backing down going on when those two guys went at it.
He doesn't back down from anybody. And I've seen this since he was coming up as an 8th grader. He would go against seniors, and it's just not in his vocabulary. And I think that's a good quality to have for any player, where they stand their ground. They're not afraid to. And I'm not saying he does anything dirty. He believes he can compete with anybody, and I think he can too. And I think that's a great quality to have, especially when you're not returning a whole lot of experience. To have that quality in one of those two guys that can hopefully model that for a bunch of young guys who eventually want to be that kind of player, junior and senior.
This is Tiger Day here on 1580, 103.3 WPKY. Talking right now with Tiger boys basketball coach Daniel Kukahiko. Need to get to a break, but we'll be back with more in just a little bit. And as Daniel said, Elijah Sindelar is going to join us in just a little bit, so stay with us here on WPKY.
The original GOAT, the greatest comeback of all time. Tiger Day from yoursportsedge.com at 1580, 103.3 WPKY. Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Kay's Kitchen.
It's a special weather advisory.
The National Weather Service has issued a flash flood watch for western Kentucky through early tomorrow morning. We do have a chance of showers and thunderstorms through early Friday, according to your Weather Edge Weather Center forecast. A high of 84 this afternoon. The watch in effect, we could see occasional showers and thunderstorms that produce up to 3 inches of rainfall through tonight, with locally higher amounts possible. Flooding of low-lying, poor drainage areas and creeks and small streams are likely. Some roads may become flooded as well. A 100% chance of showers continuing tonight, down to 71, 85 the high tomorrow, with a 70% chance of showers and thunderstorms. Again, a flash flood watch in effect for western Kentucky until 7 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Summer fun keeps rolling along at Beach Bend Park with rides, slides, and waves on the weekends. Beach Bend Park is now open Saturdays and Sundays through September 19th. Double your fun with 2 parks in 1 and enjoy classic amusement rides, including the famous Kentucky Rumbler roller coaster, water park, daily shows, mini golf, and more. Plus, parking tubes and sunscreen are always free. For hours, visit beachbend.com. Beach Bend Park. Fun for the whole family. Beach Bend Park.
I'm Amy McGrath, candidate for Senate, and I approve this message.
7,000 miles. That's how far China is from Kentucky. But given how Mitch McConnell votes in the Senate, you'd think he was China's senator instead of Kentucky's. Over his 36 years in Congress, Mitch McConnell voted for 14 trade deals, shipping jobs to countries like China. Mitch McConnell's trade policies even led to N95 mask companies outsourcing production to China. And then when we needed those masks during this pandemic, China confiscated them. China blocked the shipments of life-saving masks to the United States because they could. Mitch McConnell's trade policies have made China richer and their military stronger. And you know who's made millions from China? Mitch McConnell and his family's shipping business. Mitch McConnell, 36 years is long enough. Paid for by Amy McGrath for Senate.
Some of the best times are on the lake, eating your favorite food, sipping on a drink, and listening to live music. The Summer Concert Series at Eddy Creek Marina Resort is open for business. Live bands every Saturday night. Sit back and grab some of your favorites at Echo Charlie's, like the homemade crab cakes, Bubba's Key West salt rings, or the hand-patted Barkley Burger, pontoon rentals, cabins, and more to enjoy at Eddy Creek Marina and Echo Charlie's this summer.
Calling all Tiger fans, drop by our WPKY studios today and show your Tiger pride. Share your story with us. Tiger Day on 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
It is Tiger Day here at 1580, 103.3 WPKY, and we've had a lot of fun so far today. Heather Riley back in the studio with us to give us a little update on how things are going with the fundraising department.
Yeah, so want to give another shout out to our corporate sponsors. We got a new one since I've been back. So our corporate level sponsors are First Southern National Bank, Farmers Bank, Planners Bank, Cortner Gas, Parker Eye Care, Goodwin Insurance, Taco John's and Gather on Main, DC Plumbing, and Morgan's Funeral Home. So, yes, yeah, there you go. Give them some cheers. Yeah, so those sponsors have given $1,000 or more, and so they'll have a little bit of added things package that we're giving to them. So if anybody has a question about what goes with the corporate level sponsorship, you can give me a call at 270-625-5985. That's 270-625-5985, or you can call me here at the radio station. We'll be here until 7 o'clock. And then you can also donate today by bringing your donation. We're thankful for any size donation, anything you can give to help the athletes in Caldwell County. We're very thankful for everything that we've gotten brought in today. So you can bring it by the studio, or you can go to WPKYonline.com and go to our deals page, and you can find Tiger Day on our deals page, and you can donate there with a debit card or a credit card. In case you can't come by the station, or maybe you're listening in and you're not in Princeton or Caldwell County, maybe you're alumni or somebody who wants to donate that's moved away, you can donate there. And then if you wanted to look us up on Facebook, you can also find it there. It's at the top, pinned on our Facebook page. There's a link there that will also take you to that deals page. So we really appreciate everybody who's given, and also everybody who's been in today just to visit with us and talk about their days as a former Tiger, current Tiger, or maybe even just those people who are coaching those Tigers. So we're really thankful for everybody who's been here today.
Absolutely. And Tiger basketball coach Daniel Kukahiko is still with us, but now coming up with us on the phone, we have a former Tiger football player, basketball player, baseball player. Elijah Sindelar joins us. And Elijah, good afternoon. How are things going where you're at?
Things are going really well. Thanks for having me on here. This is exciting, and I'm glad I can be a part of it.
Absolutely. Former Mr. Football in the state of Kentucky, and had a good career there at Purdue, too. So how are things going?
Things are going really well. I've actually I graduated with my electrical engineering degree. I minored in mathematics. I started at Fiat Chrysler Automobiles, where I started back in December, and I got married back in April. So I've been married for about 5 months, and actually my wife and I just bought a house at the beginning of August. So things are, shaping up really well. I'm really happy, really excited, and just overall in a really good place right now.
Yeah, that's great. Talking about your career there at Purdue, you had some injuries, but still some great games for you with the Boilermakers.
Yeah, those injuries kind of added up quite a bit. Honestly, it's a long list at this point, but it was overall one of the best experiences I've ever had. Purdue was tremendous to me. I'll always be a Boilermaker, and cannot thank them enough for not only my career, but my experiences, the friendships I made, the coaches. I mean, it was just overall awesome.
Yeah, if you came back this year, though, you'd get another year, right? So you could actually play next year as a seventh-year senior.
Yeah, that's correct. I'd be a grandpa by the time I finally finished.
Well, certainly on the football field here at Caldwell County, you did some great things, and I mentioned the Mr. Football Award. What are some of your favorite memories from your time as playing as a Tiger?
Oh, man. Some of my favorite memories. I mean, there's probably too many to count, but one that sticks out in particular is Ted Sybil's one-handed catch against Murray in the third round. I think it was my junior year, it might have been my sophomore year, actually. Was just tremendous. I remember feeling the bumps of him catching that pass that I kind of threw up, and just kind of more of a prayer, honestly, just trying to give him a chance, and he came down with it, and that was pretty special.
But your entire career, you got started as a freshman, and I think the first night on the field you threw for 500 and something yards and a bunch of touchdowns, and you guys won 80-62 down at Callaway County.
Yeah, we were trying to play basketball. We were wanting basketball to start up. No, I'm just kidding. That's actually the only game I've ever been nervous to play. Was my very first game in high school football. I always say that game got all the nerves out for the rest of my career, not only in high school but also in college, because you were nervous the whole game. It wasn't like we scored so much that we were up like, all right, game's over. I mean, it was constantly close. I think at halftime it was 42-35 or something, so it's still, a close game, basically 0-0 at that point. So I was just nervous the whole game. And I know Jalen was nervous, but it was cool to have him starting beside me, both of us being freshmen, and him basically having a tremendous game as well. It was just pretty spectacular, but I owe Tez Civils quite a bit of that. He really came down and with the ball for me and pulled through. He had a great game also. So
are you saying if you weren't nervous, you guys would have scored 100 that night?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. No.
Well, like I said, you had a long football career. You played basketball at Caldwell County, baseball. What are some things that stick out in your mind from your time on the basketball floor?
Man, basketball was one of my favorite sports growing up, actually. It's kind of weird. I started, liking all these different sports at different times, essentially. Like, I started out wanting to be an NBA player when I was younger, and then that switched to being a professional football player. Before finishing that, I wanted to actually become a Major League Baseball pitcher. But basketball is a really fun sport because, especially when Coach K guard, because I like to be in control. I like to be the one bringing up the ball on the court and kind of directing what plays we're running, getting people set up in their positions. It's basically why I played quarterback and why I was a pitcher and things. I like to be in that kind of position, and Coach K really did a great job for myself, putting me in that spot and kind of giving me, the ability to kind of make some plays or make some calls or do things. Same thing with Coach Barnes. I can't thank Coach Barnes enough for what he did for me and how much, leeway he gave me in either changing a play at the line of scrimmage if I saw something else. I mean, the coaches at Caldwell County have just been really awesome to me and really excelled my athletic career in all three sports, and I'm just very, very grateful.
At one point, did you consider playing a little baseball there at Purdue?
I did, actually, 2 separate times, believe it or not. When I first went there, I tried to and then decided that I needed to get into engineering a little bit first before I tried to completely fill up my plate. And then when my first head coach was replaced with Coach Brom, I actually was on the baseball team, had a number, had a locker, was even practicing with them because that's when I wanted to start playing, and I figured Coach Brom would actually be okay with it because he played baseball in college. His was a little bit of a different situation. He actually played minor league in college, not on Louisville's baseball team. But anyway, he came in when he finally got there. I went in to tell him, and he didn't tell me not to play by any means, but he strongly advised me not to play. So I ended up having to step down, but it ultimately was probably the best decision at that point because the baseball schedule in college is pretty crazy. I don't know if anybody knows this. I mean, they play almost every weekend, Thursday through Sunday, and a lot of times they have games on Tuesday and Wednesday, and sometimes those Tuesday and Wednesday. Well, just up north in general, it's so cold at the beginning of the season that they have to play the majority of their season down south. They travel almost the whole, front quarter or front half of the year, and so some of those weeks I might not even be able to go to class except maybe on Monday. And as an engineering student, there was just no possible way that I could miss almost a full week of school and still be able to get everything done or learn what I need to learn.
I was going to say, trying to study engineering and be the quarterback on the football team, that's a pretty full plate.
Yeah, and honestly, what made that a lot tougher was having to learn multiple offenses back-to-back years, essentially. When I first got there, Coach Shoup was our offensive coordinator, so I learned his playbook. The next year, he was replaced with Terry Malone. I had to learn his playbook. The year after that, we had Coach Brom come, and then luckily he stayed, till I finished my career, and I was able to dig into that playbook. And then once you learn it, it's first of all, it's kind of, he was similar to high school where you have one-word names for plays and everyone knew where to line up and what to run. His is very similar to that, so it was kind of a nice change of pace, whereas the first 2 ones I was in were more of a NFL style, huddle up kind of thing, whereas Coach Brom's a no huddle. So that was a really nice transition for me. But once I had a coach and a playbook that was the same year after year, it allowed my time management to be more spent on my engineering and my courses and my studies rather than trying to split it with making sure I'm staying on top of learning the football plays, learning terminology, learning formations, learning defenses, and trying to do engineering, it kind of flipped towards the end of my career, which actually helped out better because it gets a lot harder when you get into actually electrical engineering. The first year and a half are kind of general and just basic engineering, all your math, physics, and stuff. And then once your sophomore year is over, starting in your junior year is when you actually get into all the in-depth electrical engineering courses.
From a football standpoint, how big a jump was it to go from high school football in Caldwell County to Big Ten football at Purdue?
It was a pretty big jump, not going to lie. You have everybody on the defense who runs extremely fast, from the defensive lineman to the safety. I mean, the safety, a single high safety in the middle of the field can cover both sidelines tremendously well in college. You know, when playing Ohio State or Penn State or Michigan or Wisconsin, I mean, it's pretty phenomenal. And in high school, I can outrun defensive linemen, so I can get around the edge and run a little bit. In college, that's not happening. If you try to take off, they're going to catch you. They're going to trip you up. I mean, it's the fact that they can run that fast is unhuman-like, honestly. So it was pretty crazy, but it was still pretty fun. And just the pace of the game was really the biggest difference. Things happen a lot faster. Windows to throw close a lot faster. You don't have much area to miss, essentially. And if you miss, it's almost always an interception rather than an incompletion, unless you have a really good receiver who will either he'll come down with it or he'll make sure no one does. So it's just a really interesting dynamic to be playing Division I football like that. But I tell you what, when you have people like Rondell Moore and other receivers who are extreme game changers and playmakers, it makes my life, or did as a quarterback, much easier.
Well, just unfortunate because you and Rondell were hurt on the same play, right?
Same play, yep. We both went down. I was actually trying to throw it to him when he tripped and hurt his hamstring. I saw him go down, and mid-throw, I actually was able to hold on to the ball somehow, and that's when I got tackled. I'm not saying it was his fault, but I was just funny that I was trying to throw to him when I just thought he slipped. So I was trying to, regain the ball, get ready to throw to someone else, and then when I got tackled and, of course, broke my collarbone. It was just a weird game.
Yeah. What was kind of the highlight in your mind of your career there at Purdue?
The highlight in my mind would probably be, one, beating Indiana both years that I played them, which was really nice. The other thing would be playing in the Foster Farms Bowl on a torn ACL was probably the highlight of my career, having the guys rally around me, because at that point I couldn't run at all, and my offensive line did a tremendous job to allow me to stay in the pocket and not have to run much, because running on a torn ACL is not fun. It's very unstable. So I owe them a lot of credit. But that game, especially just being in San Francisco, playing in the 49ers stadium, was just surreal.
Well, yeah, and like you said, you were playing on a bum knee at that point. At what point did you guys make the decision to go ahead and play that season, and how did you guys manage to keep that so quiet?
Yeah, that was crazy. I don't know how nobody really knew. Even some of my teammates started to find out a little bit throughout the last game. So it happened on game 9, I believe, or 8, halfway through game 8, I think, and then I played the last 4 games or 3.5 games. It was something around there, and I remember, when the doctors telling me, hey, you torn your ACL, I'm like, well, can I play? And because at this point, we had a redshirt freshman who had just came in who was trying to redshirt, and I had redshirted when I came in. I knew how much the redshirt meant to me and how much it helped me not only in my career but also academically. And so I was trying, if I could play, if I could manage it, manage the pain, manage everything, manage swelling, if I could allow him to still redshirt, that was what I was going to try to do. And the guys are counting on you. It's important to show some grit as a quarterback and as a leader of the team, to show your guys that you're willing to put in the time, put in the effort, put your body at risk, essentially, to win some games. So just help with morale. But I remember we came in, so it happened on Saturday. I found out Monday, decided to try practicing on Tuesday. Coach Baum actually tried to get me not to. He was like, no way. He just didn't think it would really be possible, and I honestly wasn't sure either. With, as an offensive lineman, you could probably handle it a little better because you're not running or cutting. Receivers, there's no way. There's too many. You're running too fast and cutting too hard, too sharp to be able to have, play on a torn ACL. But quarterback could be possible if you stay in the pocket and be careful. So Coach Baum let me try it one day at practice on Wednesday. If it went well, he'd let me try it again. And we actually convinced him in practice, just by the way it went and being able to protect me and kind of keep me safe during practices and stuff. And ultimately it was just managing swelling. So they kind of changed how I practiced throughout the rest of that year. I didn't take as many reps. I kind of did more of like routes on air or 7-on-7, kind of things like that, not necessarily the 1-on-1s or 1-on-2s. And they did a good job of just getting me prepared every game leading up to the Foster Farms Bowl. We managed swelling. Like Monday was all swelling treatment, getting it down, getting it back to normal after the game on Saturday. So they just did a really good job of, I can't thank my athletic training staff enough for what they did to get me ready each week, because I'm sure I was a handful because it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you just had an incredible game that night in the bowl game, and nobody knew about that until it came out later, and we were like, well, wow, he did that with one leg, basically.
Yeah, Coach Brown told me I was finally able to tell the media kind of what was going on, because they kept asking me throughout the year, and even they would ask Coach, like, why am I in a brace? Like, why is he wearing it now all of a sudden? Like, what's wrong with him? Is he 100% kind of thing? And I think the thought process was to not let opponents get the leg up or know kind of what was going on, which was good. It was to protect me. And it just, I thank God that it did stay with just our team and that nobody really found out, because then, you could potentially have a target put on your back. And I'm not saying that would have happened, but there is that possibility. And it ended up being just fine. But yeah, it was just crazy. And the flight home, oh my goodness. After the Foster Farms Bowl, I remember just cringing and being in pain the whole flight home, which was almost, I think, a 3 or 3.5 hour flight from San Francisco back to West Lafayette. And I actually had surgery the next day after we landed. So it was just a crazy experience. Something I probably will not want to ever do again if I was still playing.
Well, going back to your high school days here at Caldwell County, running the spread offense, did that kind of help prepare you a little bit for college football?
Oh, yes. And I'm a firm believer in the spread offense. I think the spread offense opens up so much more opportunity to throw the ball, to throw completions, to gain yards, and ultimately get those big plays. It also helps the run game because you're spreading the defense out. When you bring them in too tight, or you bring in, two tight end formation and you only have one wide out and a fullback, or you maybe have two wide outs, you put a lot of people now into the box, which they can do both. They can stop the run right away because you now have, 7, 8 people inside the box, or they can see that it's not run, and then drop into, their mid-curl area or whatever it may be, and they can kind of cover their area of the field. So I like spreading out the defense, making the linebacker determine if he's going to stay over top of the slot receiver, if he's going to play apex, which means in between, the offensive line and the receiver, or if he's going to stay in the box. And that dictates or allows me to know what I'm going to do with the ball, or where I'm going to go, or how I'm going to get him to move. It makes kind of playing the game of chess a lot easier when you're in the spread offense rather than being bunched up or in tight.
Yeah, you guys had a lot of success with the spread offense here at Caldwell County, and I guess 2012, the season you guys went to the state championship game, that has to hold a lot of good memories for you guys. Even though we didn't get the championship, that was a heck of a run.
It really was, and some of those memories are things that I'll cherish for the rest of my life. I remember playing with all those guys. I mean, I was thinking of all my receivers just a minute ago. I had Aggie and Tanner and Cameron, Ty. I had Tez, D, Elijah, Eli, Josh, Jordan. I mean, just all those guys being able to distribute the ball and having so many different receivers contribute to what a wonderful career at Caldwell it was pretty amazing. I mean, I couldn't have done it with any of my teammates. I mean, I can't throw the ball and catch the ball, so I owe those guys almost everything I have. All the records I broke are all due to my offensive line and the receivers catching the ball. I mean, it was just, I can't thank Caldwell enough for what they did for me.
Well, and that championship game, I still say if that game had been a minute longer, we were winning that thing.
Oh, yeah, we definitely would have. We just needed just a little bit more time, and we would have pulled it out.
Daniel, talk about how much fun it was for you to coach a basketball team that had Elijah Sindelar and Eli Pepper.
It was. What's up, Elijah, by the way? I'm not sure I said hello. It was fun to watch them just as much on the court as it was off the court. I think one of the things that, those two guys you just mentioned, was to see what they did outside of a structured practice. The hours they put in outside of working on their shot for basketball or working on their skills for football, or just that was what was was good for me to see. I remember you were talking about memories earlier. The first memory I have was actually, or one of the first memories I have was coaching at Central. We played over here, but the year before I didn't know. The year before I ended up being the head coach here at Caldwell. Very first play of the game, they run a back screen. Elijah hammers one right in front of me, and I was like, "Wow, we can't. That's going to be tough for us to stop all night," and we didn't. But you touched on this a second ago. I do have a question for you. So you touched on your core of receivers, which was a pretty phenomenal core of receivers you just outlined. But that 2012 season, you were a young quarterback. We have a lot of not just in sports in general, there's a lot of young guys that get thrown into, the quarterback's one of the leaders on the field. So I guess your resume speaks for itself. What advice would you give to a young athlete who gets thrown into that, not just a quarterback, but a position on the football field, a position on the basketball court, a position on the baseball field, because you were in those positions? Looking back, what are some lessons that you learned that might help some of these young guys, now? Maybe they're in, middle school right now. Maybe they're, coming up and just listening. What advice would you give to them, things you've learned that you didn't know then that you wish you would have known?
Yeah, that's a real good point. First things first, I would say that you've got to be diligent in doing what's right and showing the guys that you're going to do what's right. Because as a leader, if you're going to have to call somebody out for running the wrong route or doing the wrong thing, you have to make sure that you're the one doing the right thing. Because if you're not, it's not going to hold any water and guys won't respect you. So that's the first thing, is you've got to make sure that your attention to detail is spot on, that you're trying to do everything right. And that's not going to say you're not going to make mistakes, but you've got to make sure that you're trying to limit those mistakes. So when you can call out or especially an older guy say, hey, that's the wrong route on this play, I need you to be here, they've got to be able to respect you. The other thing is showing grit and just being the one doing extra, showing that you're willing to put in the time and the effort, because older guys will notice that. They really will. If you're just there showing up a minute before practice and leaving as soon as you can, guys aren't going to really respect that. But if you're showing up an hour before practice or 30 minutes before practice, and granted, high school may be a little different because you're probably coming right out of class, but if you can stay late and work on them, or ask, if you're a quarterback, ask a receiver, hey, can we work on this route after practice, and try to do those things. That'll really help you out. The last thing that I wanted to say is kind of slipping from my mind right now, but give me a second to think of what it was.
Well,
I'm not sure.
We're talking with Elijah Sindelar today, and
one other thing, and I can't think of it.
No, those are both very good points, and I appreciate you sharing that. It's good for those young guys to hear. Like I said, your resume speaks for itself. Good for those guys to hear those comments.
I got it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I don't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. Let's hear it.
The last thing, and this is going to be a little interesting, is fake it until you make it. So you may be thrown into this situation, and you may not have a whole lot of confidence in yourself, maybe internally, where you're kind of battling with your own mind. Externally, on the outside, you've got to be stone cold. You've got to be looked apart. You got to be like showing everybody else that you have no doubt that you're going to make this play, or you're going to do this thing. Even though inside you may be having, or doubt may be trying to creep its way in, on the outside, you can't show any of that. That goes probably the longest way for when you're a younger guy with older teammates, is when you do get thrown in the fire, because those guys have had experience being thrown in the fire. So they're trying to see how you're going to react. And if you get thrown into that position and you're like, you know what, regardless of how I feel on the inside, the outside, I'm going to show confidence. I'm going to show poise. I'm just going to get the job done no matter what.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, Elijah, do you miss the football already, or are you ready to move on? And how are you kind of filling the gap without having sports now?
Well, that's a good question. You know, this virus has kind of been crazy, but buying a house has kind of been filling up my time. We're kind of doing some things around the house, and I replaced the floor, and we put in new cabinets and countertops, kind of things like that. So it's kind of been more of carpentry, honestly. That's kind of been filling the time, but I miss sports in general. Baseball was my favorite sport, and I wish I would have been able to play, or even maybe had that last year to play baseball in college. I really wish I would have maybe stayed. I mean, I couldn't have stayed. I had torn ACL, but my senior year of high school, I can't tell you guys enough how much I missed not playing that last year and ultimately leaving early. But there's some kids here that are across the street that play football, and I've been seeing them throw outside. So I'm going to try to get involved with some of these young kids and be able to just share knowledge and help them out and just throw around with them. I mean, it'll be fun just to be able to throw the football around out, next to the street and the yards and stuff. So I'm going to keep as much in touch with athletics as I can and not let it all slip away,
Hey, Elijah, we appreciate the time today. Thanks for coming on. Again, congratulations on a great football career. We certainly enjoyed watching you in your entire time here at Caldwell County, and best of luck to you in everything you do. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. That's Elijah Sindelar, former Caldwell County standout. Only Mr. Football from Caldwell County ever. That's a pretty big award right there. I mean,
it is. It's pretty cool to be known. You're the best in the state and the only one from here, so that's good stuff.
Need to get to a break here. Tiger Day is going to continue, though, on 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
We put our Tigers on the hill because that's where the king lives. Home of the original Tiger King. YourSportsEdge.com at 1580, 103.3 WPKY. Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Community Medical.
From the Weather Edge, this is a special weather advisory.
The National Weather Service has issued a flash flood watch for western Kentucky through early tomorrow morning. We do have a chance of showers and thunderstorms through early Friday, according to your Weather Edge Weather Center forecast. A high of 84 this afternoon. The watch in effect, we could see occasional showers and thunderstorms that produce up to 3 inches of rainfall through tonight, with locally higher amounts possible. Flooding of low-lying, poor drainage areas and creeks and small streams are likely. Some roads may become flooded as well. A 100% chance of showers continuing tonight, down to 71, 85 the high tomorrow, with a 70% chance of showers and thunderstorms. Again, a flash flood watch in effect for western Kentucky until 7 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Since 1937, Pennyrile Electric has been dedicated to the health and well-being of our members. Did you know there are several socially distanced ways to pay your electric bill? You can use the member portal at PRECC.com, call to make automated payments over the phone, use the PRECC app, enroll and pay by text or our residential prepaid program, or just stop by one of our 24-hour kiosks in Hopkinsville or Oak Grove. Pennyrile Electric, proud to power your life for 83 years.
I'm Governor Andy Beshear. What if you had COVID-19 and didn't know it? Would you act differently if you did know? The fact is, many Kentuckians are symptom-free carriers, unknowingly spreading the disease to our most vulnerable and holding back our economy. None of us want that. So wear a mask. Help slow the spread. Do it for your loved ones. Do it for Kentucky's economy. Do it for you. Let's mask up, Kentucky.
Caldwell Medical Associates' new orthopedics clinic is your one-stop shop for orthopedic care. Our team of medical professionals can diagnose and treat a wide range of orthopedic issues and get you back on the path to a happier, healthier you. Whether you need basic fracture care or osteoporosis management, a sports physical, or back pain treatment, we've got you covered. To learn more or to schedule an appointment with an orthopedic provider, call 270-365-9599.
Our team at Farmers Bank is committed to doing our part to protect against the potential spread of COVID-19. So effective Thursday, March 19th until further notice, we are operating on a drive-through only format. Our drive-thrus at all 3 of our locations will be open for normal hours. If your needs cannot be met through either our drive-thrus, internet banking, mobile app, or by phone, please give us a call to set up an appointment. We want to thank you for being a customer of Farmers Bank and appreciate your patience and support during these times. This is Jeff McDaniels of Farmers Bank and Trust Company, member FDIC.
A message from Carrington Services.
I am Kentucky Colonel William Carrington. I am a Christian motivational speaker and author. As we start to see our great country reopening and local businesses starting back up, we can feel the sense of pride knowing we can move forward. During this time of chaos and pandemics, we, the citizens, will not lay down. We will fight our way back. I am asking everyone to do your part. Support local. Together we will get through this. Princeton proud.
Hi,
Hi, it's Jenny from your local Big Deal store. If you run a business and are looking for a fun and creative way to market it, Big Deals might just be a great fit. Imagine a radio marketing program that allows you to trade for your advertising schedule. Interested? Give us a shout and see for yourself.
Call us at 270-522-3232, and we can get you more information about how you can partner with our Big Deal store.
Once a Tiger, always a Tiger. Tiger Day on 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
Back on WPKY, it is Tiger Day. Thanks for joining us. A lot of people have been in the studio with us today. A lot more people have come by to drop by donations, and we really appreciate that. Trying to raise money today for the Caldwell County High School Athletic Department, and Heather Riley is back in the studio with us and going to give us an update on some of the things going on today and how people can donate.
Yeah, that's right. So if you're just now tuning in with us, we have a couple ways that you can donate. So anybody can drop by the station and drop off your donations. You can make your checks out to Caldwell County High School and drop them off here at the station. We also have a way for you to donate via credit card or debit card on our deals page. So you can find that at WPKYonline.com and find the deals page, and you'll find Tiger Day. And you can also find that on our Facebook page. That link is tagged on the top of our Facebook page, so you can find that either way. I want to send a shout out to our corporate level sponsors. That's First Southern National Bank, Farmers Bank, Planters Bank, Cortner Gas, Parker Eye Care, Goodwin Insurance, Taco John's and Gather on Main, DC Plumbing, and Morgan's Funeral Home. Those businesses have given a donation of at least $1,000 or more. So those are our corporate level sponsors. Those businesses will have a little bit of an added bonus of a package, a few things donated from us and a few things that school will give them. So if anybody has any questions about being a corporate level sponsor, you're welcome to give me a call. My phone number is 270-625-5985. That's 270-625-5985, or you can get in touch with me here at the radio station. I'll be here until 7 o'clock tonight, and we'll be collecting money here until 7 o'clock tonight, so drop by. Any amount, we're welcome. We're thankful. Every dollar counts to help our kids out, so just want to say a huge thank you to everybody who's come by today and dropped off a donation. We're very humbled by all the people who have been by and dropped off money to help our kids continue with their athletics, and thankful to all the people who have been in today to kind of help you guys hear a little bit about what it means to the athletes in Caldwell County and what it means to be a Tiger.
It's been a busy day. A lot of people have been in here. We've had a lot of fun. Daniel Kukahiko, Caldwell County boys basketball coach, is still with us. And Daniel, you can talk a little bit about the athletic side of sports, because or the money side of it, because you guys put together the West Kentucky Hoops Classic every year to try to raise some money for basketball and the athletic department.
Absolutely. It's one of those things. Fundraising is obviously not one of those reasons why coaches get into sports, but it is a necessary evil. And I think the first thing that comes to mind as Heather was talking is just how supportive and giving our community is. I can't tell you how many times over the past 8-10 years that went to asked for a sponsorship, or a parent for representing our program has went to ask for a sponsor, or the program as we just did, that most people always just say yes, I can do this amount, and it's we're just blessed by this community. And then you mentioned the West Kentucky Hoops Classic. I hope that we can have.
I didn't want to put you on the spot, but how does that look?
Well, I don't want to say it doesn't look great. We had maybe one of the best fields we've ever had this year coming in. I think we had 7 or 8 different states, about 14 teams, and obviously I don't think the out-of-state teams are going to work out this year, but we're trying to keep them on the hook for years down the road. But it's still a little bit up in the air with who knows what it's going to look like in a couple of months from now. So we hope we get to have the event, but still up in the air right now.
from the COVID-19 standpoint and all the mandates and guidelines, how has that kind of affected your season coming up? And you guys are actually going to start a little earlier, is that right?
We actually start normally the Monday after Thanksgiving is when basketball season can first start, and this year it's the week before. So, pushing fall sports back, and they may push our season back or may shorten our season. Who knows what that's going to look like? But it is, we're getting into that time right now when I think all the coaches are itching to get in the gym because, we talked about it earlier. We've got, a lot of young guys that need some gym time right now. They need to get used to us. They need to get used to us yelling at them for nothing else. And, finding out kind of who we are and just getting the ball ready and being ready to go, on November, the last week of November, we'll say that.
Have you had to redo your schedule a few times? Because I know Coach Barnes was in earlier, and he's had to redo his, and Coach Cortner really had to rework his a few times. Just things kept getting shifted around, and you just kind of have to work on it. But has that affected you yet for this upcoming season?
Not really too much at this point. Now, we'll probably have to make some adjustments, in a few months. Hopefully not, but. Our schedule is pretty much set normally by the end of the season before. So we had, our season pretty much set. Even almost the tournament field for the Hoops Classic was set not too far after our season ended. So unless we have to make some adjustments for COVID reasons, our schedules. We could add a couple more games. It's tough, because playing a week. Starting a week earlier and then having a football team, which don't get me wrong, and soccer teams that have the success that they have, and I wouldn't want it any other way. We want those guys to be able to play both sports. And so, you always don't schedule the games maybe those first few days of the season. And then, if you don't play a couple of Christmas tournament games, it's hard to get to that mark of 30 games. So we'll have to make some changes, I have no doubt, but it's set for the most part.
As of right now, when can you guys get back in the gym? Still up in the air?
I wish I knew. There was some recommendations that came down from the state that said, non-fall sports need to kind of stay away, and I understand why. They want to kind of control the spread if we can, and if it helps us get closer to having a normal season, then I'm okay with doing it. But be honest, I haven't heard anything. And I know I'll brag on. She's walking in right now in the pouring down rain. Ms. Farmer and Coach Mack. ADs, assistant AD, they have done a phenomenal job just trying to, especially when everything changes almost on a daily basis. And she's probably sick of me Chuck and I are wearing her out. When can we get back in the gym? And she said, well, I'm trying to, she always is very respectful and says, as soon as you can, I promise I'll let you know. So, it hopefully sooner than later, but as right now, we just, it's not on the agenda, we'll say that.
Well, we've talked a lot about memories today as a Tiger. You played basketball, baseball. I think you played golf a little bit too, didn't you? So
I tried.
So you've got to have some memories in there somewhere.
I tell you that I don't know that it's
somewhere. I've got a picture of you and somebody else dumping water on Coach Jimmy Dyer after a baseball game.
Oh yeah, I remember that game. It was after the district championship, I'm pretty sure, and I think for me, with the guys that I grew up with, a lot of us played, similar sports, and we were together a whole lot. That's the memory that sticks out the most to me is, the camaraderie you have with that group of guys and going through, the high school careers. We were talking earlier, and I thought about this, the atmosphere at the games. I miss the 5th district atmosphere. I miss the cab or any other gym we were playing at during the district tournament to just be, or a Friday night doubleheader with any of the opponents. The gym was full. There was, all that trash talking going on. It wasn't on social media back then because it wasn't as big as it is now. But it was a good vibe. And I don't want to talk about golf too much because I wasn't very good. I remember spending a lot of time underneath the trees and in the weeds and chasing balls. But
that's golf, though, right?
It was for me. It was for me.
That's what I think of when I think of golf.
So, and then the baseball was, you mentioned Mr. Dyer. It was just fun. I think I liked just going from sport to just the competition, going from the course straight to the court, straight to the field, with pretty much the same guys. And I guess I just saw him drive by a while ago, but Coach Cash, who's one of my good friends, able to coach with him now. We talk about it all the time. The night that he put up 49 in our gym, and he had 2 or 3 threes that he made that the whistle blew dead. And what most people don't know was he reminds me of this all the time. We bring that up. That's probably one of the biggest chewings I've ever got. Coach McQuarrie, I won't ever forget it. I was guarding their best player, and I shouldn't have been guarding their best player because I was not quick enough to stay in front of him, and he could shoot, he could do all this stuff. And I got a pretty good talking to at halftime. And so every time we talk about that 49 points or it comes up, he always makes sure to point out that the highlight of his night was seeing me get yelled at halftime. So, but it's just those guys, those things that you can't get back, and with guys that you grew up with.
Well, we certainly appreciate you coming by and talking with us. I think we've kept you about an hour or so.
No, I've enjoyed it. It's always nice to hear, especially to hear Elijah talk about his experiences here as well.
I just want to know when you're going to step up your shoe game.
What's that?
Your coaching shoe game.
Well,
Dustin kind of has it going on.
Cash is on a whole different level. I just, I'm not.
Those blue ones, though.
Yeah, when he does
it's better when he does the alternating the 2 different colors.
Yes. When he does that,
I'm just saying you got a little.
I can tell you I like it though because it takes all the spotlight off me and the rest of the team. Everybody asks, "What's Cash going to wear tonight?" I don't know. Ask him. It's so.
Well, thanks for coming by again, and we look forward to having basketball this winter.
Absolutely, I do too. I appreciate you guys. I know you guys had a long day today, but as a coach and as a teacher at the school, I know it's finances is on every coach's mind this year, and we appreciate you all taking the time, giving up your whole day, and probably even after the 9 to 7, probably started a lot earlier and ended a lot later. But we so greatly appreciate it, and all the ones that the sponsors. We will do due diligence with the finances. We'll say that.
That's Tiger basketball coach Daniel Kukahiko. It's Tiger Day here at WPKY. Need to get to a break. Back with more after this on 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
More than history, it's a legacy. Tiger Day on WPKY. 1580, 103.3 WPKY. Princeton.
News, I'm Rich Dennison. President Trump in North Carolina today discussing politics before designating Wilmington the nation's first World War II heritage city.
Because we're running against people that have got some big issues. They've got some big, big problems. They're stone cold crazy, and we have to keep our country.
Former Vice President Joe Biden telling supporters in Delaware that the president doesn't have a plan to safely reopen schools during the pandemic.
He's offering nothing but failure and delusions. From the start to finish, the American families and our children are paying the price for his failures.
The election is now just 62 days away. The presidential debates will be moderated by journalists from Fox News, C-SPAN, and NBC, marking the first time CNN is shut out since 2008. The first debate is set for the 29th of this month. America is listening to Fox News.
W277CK Princeton.
Listen up, please.
Get out the blue and gold.
Fabulous.
It's Tiger Day, 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Ace is the only national retailer that carries Benjamin Moore paint, which means the paint you trust and a huge selection of colors are right in your neighborhood. And right now, when you buy a sample of Benjamin Moore paint, we'll give you $5 off your next paint purchase. So if you're looking for award-winning service and a new look for your home, look no further than Benjamin Moore paint at Ace. Offer valid on gallons of Benjamin Moore, Clark & Kensington, and Royal Paint. Limit one $5 coupon on 1 gallon purchase at participating Ace stores only. See store for additional details and exclusions.
Hey, what do you want to da-da-da? I don't know. What do y'all think we should da-da-da? Well, what did we da yesterday? Yesterday. All the dolls feel like the same doll these days. I know. Like, is today Monday or Tuesday? Today is Thursday. Oh, no, I forgot to call my mom on her birthday. Oh, no. No.
These days, nothing is normal and everything is weird. But you could still save big when you switch to Progressive. That won't change. Not today or any day.
Quote today at Progressive.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Fredonia Valley Bank.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast. An 80% chance of showers and thunderstorms possible tonight, cooling down to an overnight low of 72. We'll see showers continuing through the day tomorrow, high of 83, but mostly cloudy skies by tomorrow night, back down to around 66. Again, an overnight low of 72 tonight, with showers and thunderstorms possible across the area.
Shop local, buy local, save big deal.
It's here. The Loyal Listener Big Deal Store is online and waiting for you to shop and buy gift certificates to local businesses. Go to WPKYonline.com. Click on Loyal Listener Big Deals. Here you'll find dozens and dozens of gift certificates. Some you'll even be able to redeem from your smartphone. Shop and buy 24 hours a day and save a ton of money in the process. Save on oil changes, dining out, haircuts, car washes, and more. Our store never closes, but you better hurry. You never know how long each deal will last.
YourSportsEdge.com and WPKY, the winning Tiger team. Happy Tiger Day, Caldwell County, WPKY.
1580, 103.3 WPKY. Todd Griffin back in the studios here at 1035 West Main Street. We've had a big day talking to everybody. Hope you've enjoyed hearing some of the stories and some of the favorite memories from everyone. Gary Goodaker has joined us in the studio. He's going to be with us for a little while. Kim Farmer is coming in as well, so it continues to be a busy day on the show. And Kim, we're going to start with you. And I know it's been a busy day for you as well, trying to figure out a few things as far as sports moving forward next week.
That is correct. I've been in meetings all day today trying to discuss that.
What have you come up with?
What we have come up with is we have our seating capacities for our venues now. So I'm going to be getting with our coaches. Our first priority is our players' families on getting season tickets. So once we go from there, then we'll be able to get more information out to our public as when they can purchase and everything. We're doing all general admission tickets this year, no reserve seating or whatever, and I hope the plan is that we buy or sell a pass. Mm-hmm. And if you buy the pass, then you're guaranteed to get in the game because I have your name and you take up that spot for capacity.
Okay. Have schools in the area kind of talked about that as a whole? Is it going to be kind of consistent from one school to the next?
Well, that was one of my 2-hour meetings this morning. All the ADs met together in our region, and we're kind of going about things a little bit different, but we're kind of all on the same page as well. A couple of schools are going to online ticketing, and you'll have to buy your ticket through online and stuff. Us and a couple of other schools are going to ask for a list. I'm going to give them, you have X number of tickets, and they're going to send me a list. And if your name is on that list, then you're guaranteed to get your tickets. But once again, our parents and our families take priority over general public.
Can you give us a number, like for football, how many people we can get in the stadium?
Total number for football, we're hoping that we can get 600 in there, but that's counting the visitor side too, so it won't be 600 Tigers.
How do you divide those up? Do you 400 Caldwell fans and 200 away fans, or how?
Well, we have measured the bleachers and we've measured the grassy area on the visitor side. Seems like, right off the top of my head, we can get 82 people in the visitors' stands, and then maybe another 30 in the grassy area. So I'm going to allot our visiting teams whatever that number comes out to be, and then the rest will be available.
As far as other schools, is it just different depending on the stadium? Or
yes. And all of us are going with different percentages. Mm-hmm. Some schools are starting out with 20% in the beginning to see if they can manage that, and if they can, then they hope to raise it. Some are starting at 40% capacity. So we elected, the original was 20 to 40% with 50% in some cases, and we chose the middle of the road at 30%. That's not to say that may not change depending on how we can manage everything.
Yeah, that was my next question. If that number, if everything goes well, will we be able to get more and more people in as the season goes?
We'll look at each game on an individual basis.
How busy has it been for you trying to get everything ready to go next week for soccer, volleyball, football?
My brain is mush right now, trying to keep everything. Plus, on top of that, I'm doing the sports program as well.
Yeah.
So online classes and full-time AD, as well as the ad program and stuff. I've had tremendous help from my admin, and my coaches have done a wonderful job, so that makes it a lot easier for me.
I'm guessing it's probably a mandate that every fan in attendance will have to wear a mask.
have to wear a mask. We're going to do temperature checks before you come into the stadium, and you have to wear your mask, and your mask has to stay on at all times. If it doesn't and you're asked to put your mask on and you refuse, then we're going to have to ask you to leave.
Going to be a situation this fall where people just have to do what they have to do so that we can have sports.
Right. Our kids and our coaches have worked far too hard, and we can't let somebody else be the reason that our kids can't play.
Because I'll admit I don't like wearing the mask at all. Sometimes it's tough enough to breathe without one, but if that's what we have to do to play sports, then I'll be out there with a mask on.
Our fan base is excellent. They've always supported us, and I don't foresee that being any kind of a problem if that's what we've got to do to have those Friday night lights and those Tuesday night lights and everything else playing. Then I expect our fan base will do the same.
Will there be other ways for fans to keep up with the teams? I know we're going to do the football Friday night video here at WPKY, but there's just going to be some people, unfortunately, that won't be able to go to the volleyball game or the soccer game or the football game like they normally would.
Other than a radio broadcast, no. We chose not to go through any other video broadcasting system right now. We're keeping everything local and going through our radio station right now.
As the AD, again, it just has to be a crazy time for you because everybody's going to try to fit a season into a little short time. So that's going to be a lot of ball games in about 6 or 7 weeks.
It is. And I hope that we can get more information out to our public. Our first soccer game is Tuesday night. So I'm hoping that we can get information out so everybody has general guidelines and stuff by Friday at the latest.
All right, good deal. Anything else you need to add from all the meetings today or anything going on?
I hope we can all pull it off and that we get to play.
That's the main thing, yeah. We all want to play.
Standing in front of those kids in the spring, telling them that they weren't going to have a season, was one of the most difficult things that we've had to do, and I don't want to do that for the fall kids.
We talked about that this morning on the show, that I think that's why the push has been so hard to get fall sports up and running in some form or fashion, because we all know how much that hurt not having spring sports.
Absolutely. And there's more fall athletes, and I can't see all of those sad faces like we saw in the spring. It'd just be devastating.
Well, good luck to you, and we appreciate you coming in and taking part in Tiger Day here.
Well, I appreciate everything this community has done, and the outreach that we've had today has been phenomenal. And this is, I even shared with my ADs what our community was doing for our athletic program, and they were just amazed that we were able to do this. So this has been great, and I want to thank everybody that's contributed, everybody that's listened, everybody that's prayed for us, anything.
Because, again, just to reiterate, those football gates are significant amounts of money, and that goes to fund the entire athletic program.
Yes, our soccer program and our volleyball program and our basketball programs have gotten to where they're self-sufficient for the most part, but we have a lot of non-revenue sports, and we have some sports that, based on the way our venue is set up, it's difficult to get and collect the tickets, and football is what carries us. I know everybody puts a lot of emphasis on football, but financially speaking, from the athletic department, it's the bread and the butter.
Well, you can just get a whole lot more people out there on Friday night at Tiger Stadium for a football game than you can get anyplace else. I mean,
exactly.
So
there's a lot of hidden costs too that our community, not really hidden, but there's a lot of things that they don't think about. Membership to KHSAA, there's assigning secretary fees that we've got to have. Our coaches have to be CPR certified. I mean, there's a lot of things other than just buying a uniform. Speaking of uniforms, basketball, they're up this year, and I'm looking at $9,000 to put new uniforms on our basketball players. And when you're talking about a 30% capacity this year and losing a home football game, those numbers are devastating.
Well, and cost for officials, that's another cost that maybe everybody doesn't think about, but that's something you have every game.
Yes, it's $235, I think, for soccer. We have 7 football officials that get paid $75 and one gets paid $85. I mean, those numbers add up quickly.
So it's a lot of money, and hopefully we're helping things out here today.
Anything, is helpful and greatly appreciated.
Well, again, we appreciate you taking part with us today, coming in and giving us an update, and good luck with what you've got coming up.
Well, thank you. Hope to see all 600 people that can get in on Friday night football games, and 200 on soccer.
Well, I'm just hoping I can be there someplace,
I've got you in my tier 2. Yeah, you're a tier 2 this year.
All right.
Do you know when the passes are going to be available?
I'm going to have them available for my soccer parents on Thursday and Friday. I'll be at practice to sell them. I'm going to give football the opportunity on Tuesday, and we may open it up to the public next Wednesday.
That's Kim Farmer, Caldwell County Athletic Director. And again, some big news there on the numbers, and good luck to you as you try to get us through softball or soccer, volleyball, and football seasons.
Yes. Thank you, Todd.
Before you know it, this would be a time you'd be starting to look at basketball and wrestling if we were on the traditional schedule. And
that is true.
And they will have to be dealt with in their capacities and how you deal with, especially the contact with wrestling. So it's coming. As soon as these get fixed, you'll have another set of winter sports.
Correct. Right now, it's a recommendation of KHSAA that basketball not be practicing and stuff. And sorry, we're trying to go by those guidelines right now. So basketball, they text me or email me about every other day, when can we get started? They're eager. That's another good thing about our sports. Our coaches not only care about what happens on the court, but they are so in love with their kids and their sport. It's just amazing to watch.
This is Tiger Day here on 1580, 103.3 WPKY. Need to get to a break, but back with more after this on 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
Don't try, they win. The greatest comeback of all time. Tiger Day. Donate online at our loyal listener Big Deal store or stop by our studios at WPKY. Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Treasures Remembered.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast. 72 the overnight low tonight with showers and thunderstorms possible. We'll see showers likely through the day tomorrow as well, high of 83. Rain showers push out of the region by tomorrow night, mostly cloudy down to 66. Partly sunny on Friday, 81 the high, and sunny and 82 for Saturday. Showers and thunderstorms possible tonight, down to 72.
Your local McDonald's wants you to know that they're ready to serve you for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They've always had their drive-thru, and now they're offering curbside pickup service as well. To avoid the wait in the drive-thru, you can download the McDonald's app and try curbside pickup. They appreciate your patience and understanding during this time. We are all having to adjust to this new way of life. It's temporary, but in the meantime, enjoy breakfast, lunch, or dinner at your local McDonald's.
Summer fun keeps rolling along at Beach Bend Park with rides, slides, and waves on the weekends. Beach Bend Park is now open Saturdays and Sundays through September 19th. Double your fun with 2 parks in 1 and enjoy classic amusement rides, including the famous Kentucky Rumbler roller coaster, water park, daily shows, mini golf, and more. Plus, parking tubes and sunscreen are always free. For hours, visit beachbend.com.
Beach Bend Park. Fun for the whole family. Beach Bend Park. Join Black Patch Grill this Wednesday for their fan-favorite burger night as they support our Caldwell County Tigers. This Wednesday only, when you enjoy lunch and dinner at Black Patch Grill in downtown Princeton, 10% of all proceeds go straight to all our Caldwell County high school athletes. It's Tiger Day at Black Patch Grill. From Black Patch Grill, YourSportsEdge.com and 1580 103.3 WPKY.
This Friday night, tune in for a local sports special, the YourSportsEdge.com Fall Sports Preview. The entire YourSportsEdge.com team will be on the air to preview high school football. You can join Scott, Todd, Tom, and Josh as they break down the football teams from across the area. This local sports special will air immediately after the 6 o'clock news. YourSportsEdge.com team has never stopped carrying the sports news that's important to you. Tune in right here after the 6 o'clock news to catch their football special. And as always, for the latest sports, go to YourSportsEdge.com.
It's Tiger Day, our chance to help Caldwell County high school athletes. Donate online at our loyal listener Big Deal store or stop by our studios at WPKY.
1580, 103.3 WPKY. Todd Griffin back in the WPKY studios. Gary Goodaker still with us, and joining us on the phone now from Bowling Green, we've got Chris George as we get the stat band back together again. Chris, how's everything going with you today?
Pretty good, Todd. Just happy to be part of Caldwell County Tiger Day. I even wore blue and gold today. getting in the mood.
Yeah, it's almost time. We'll be football Friday nighting before very long.
I'm looking forward to it. I didn't know if we were going to have football, but it looks like all systems are a go.
Well, that's one thing we've been talking about here today, and, really proud of everybody, not just Caldwell County, but everywhere, because kids were out practicing, doing the conditioning the best they could. A lot of times it just amounted to going to practice to run, and a lot of them didn't even know if they were going to have a season or not, but they were still out there getting ready and still preparing like they would. So, that's why I'm so excited that we're here now just, less than a week away from having some ball games.
I saw you had the coaches on earlier today. What did Coach Will Barnes say the numbers was looking like?
For the football team or for the attendance?
Yeah, football. Football.
I think they've got 50-something kids, so I think they're going to be pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're lined up and ready to go, and Crittenden County's coming to town for that first game next Friday, and Gary, that's always going to be a big game. Of course, unfortunate that we won't have more people there, but that's just the world we are living in currently.
Yeah, that's going to be a big financial hit because we would have packed. Crittenden would have definitely packed their side, and we would have been close. Plus, it being the opener, I can't remember us opening with Crittenden. I mean, maybe we have, and it's just escaped my mind. But with no scrimmages and no preseason ability to get against anybody but yourself, I think that's just going to be an amazingly strange matchup because no film. We're just going to have to go in and go with basically our best offensive plan, and we'll just have to see on the fly. We may have the most halftime adjustments ever in this game of what we see from Crittenden's defense and Crittenden's offense.
Well,
what are the attendance numbers? What is the allowance for attendance?
We are looking at 600 people in Tiger Stadium for the first game.
Wow.
It's going to be different, Chris, because, I mean, we're used to that roar. We're used to the electricity. I still think we're going to have it, but I think it's just going to be so different. I think you're going to get a lot of electricity simply because it's something that's been so anticipated, and I think you're going to have fans there. The ones that are going to be there are going to definitely give their all to the Tigers so that they can hear them, but it will be different because we're just used to the packed stadium, and it won't be.
Now, will Crittenden be allowed to bring any, or is it home team only?
That's 600 total fans in the stands between Caldwell County and Crittenden County.
But no official splitting that I have heard has occurred. There's no number that has been allocated to the visitors or home.
So is it like a pre-sale situation, or somebody gets to the gate and number 601 is out of luck?
No, I think you'll probably have to buy a pass beforehand, and that's how they will tell how many people have passes and how many can get in.
Okay. It should be interesting considering the way we travel, that I believe on the road, they better give us an allotment because, in most places, the Tiger fans outnumber the home team everywhere we go except Mayfield.
It's going to be interesting because our road games this year is Union, which has a decent-sized visiting stands, and then we're going to go to Mayfield. Is that correct? And we're going to go. Christian should be no problem. I think Christian will be one of our best opportunities if you want to go on the road. And then our other road game is Madisonville, and they have a pretty good-sized stadium. So I think if you want to go on the road, there will be good opportunity in the majority of our road venues to get in.
Well, and potentially the later we get in the year, more people will be able to go.
Right, the 20 or the 30% is for week one, and it's subject to change because of situations and the management issues. Because we need to see how effectively our fans and the visiting fans will adhere to the social distancing and the masking. If we have to keep policing over and over that people just aren't doing their part, that's going to play into the fact that we won't be able to allow as many people in because we really only have so many people who can police. If it takes all of them just to keep people behaving, then the numbers will go down or stay the same. But if we can see that both COVID and behavioral issues can work out, then maybe we can go up. And it's going to be the same for the visitors. And that was a question I wish I'd asked Kim Farmer. Who will be policing the visitors? Will we, as the home football or soccer or volleyball, be in charge of them? Or will visiting schools be expected to bring administrators to police their fans?
Yeah, good question.
Do we count against the 600, Todd? Gary?
We're just hoping we get in right now.
I don't know. I don't know if I count at all. I'm just going to show up if they let me in.
You know, as statisticians, you guys may count as part of the team personnel.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, we may all have to be statisticians this year.
Well, we're down there on the field, but that's another thing. We're used to the 25s being where the players are. Well, have they extended that? Is it going to be the 15s?
I think that's probably going to get extended. So,
okay. So we'll have to distance from the players. So a lot of times I've been just right in the mix. If the ball's on the 42-yard line, I'm at the 42-yard line. Well, I may not be able to do that. I may have to figure out lines of sight to help me distance from the players, the sticks, officials, and the coaches.
Well, it's just going to be an interesting situation this year because
stand down around the end zone and watch through binoculars, and I can do defense from a distance through binoculars for the most part.
It's going to be interesting trying to get pictures this year because we won't be able to follow everybody around the way we usually do. So
you realize social distancing, Chris, doesn't mean being antisocial. But then again, what's changed?
Tiger Day here on 1580, 103.3 WPKY, joined right now by Gary Goodaker and Chris George as we get ready for the upcoming season. And guys, that Crittenden County game is going to be important to start things, but it's going to be a weird season. We've talked about there's not going to be a whole lot of people in the stands like there normally is. I think veteran teams are probably going to have a little advantage starting out. And Gary, I think Caldwell County shapes up pretty strongly in that situation.
I think offensively, as you can see from having an experienced quarterback, 3 experienced receivers, and an experienced offensive line, we're just going to have to get some new production from the offense at running back. But when you know your routes and you know that your quarterback can make certain throws, all you've got to do is tweak it and see, for example, how much stronger our quarterback's gotten. Are there some throws that he can make now that maybe he couldn't quite make as a junior? Have our receivers gotten quicker, faster, bigger? By all accounts, they have. So we can't just say, okay, just run these plays because that's what they could run as juniors. Maybe they can do a little bit more, a little more explosive. Maybe they're going to be a little bit more able to get separation. So, yes, we have a baseline, but we don't want to just assume that they were stagnant and they were exactly what they were last year. They should be bigger, stronger. What if our line, even though they're experienced, have bulked up and have got this chemistry going, and we can blow open some holes we couldn't even do last year? That may allow a new running back to have success because he's going to have something you could drive a truck through. So I'm glad we have experience, but we have to see what gains we've made. And we're going to be doing it on the fly because we have 2 games before district play.
And Chris, Jay Davis just texted me and said the sideline will be 10-10 for coaches and players this season.
10-10, okay. Thank you, Jay. Can I always count on good old Jay? I agree with Gary as well that having an experienced quarterback and experienced receivers is going to be paramount. As you know, you're just jumping right into the fire and having experience at those spots. I mean, I couldn't imagine what if you were trying to break in a new quarterback with limited practice, no scrimmages, and just going. But what did the coaches say about filling the hole at the running back position?
Still kind of looking at that situation. I think it's going to be interesting to see exactly who gets out there on Friday nights and exactly how the Tigers line up. So be a fun first night for us.
5 wide. Yeah. We're going to go 5 wide a couple of times. I have no inside information, but I would love to see us do that a couple of times because we have a quarterback who can run the ball. And I think if we go 5 wide and really spread them out, I could see Russ Bashir getting a lot of running yards from the quarterback position. But the running back is where instinct matters the most. So if we have to break in a position, given COVID, given everything, I like it being running back because with an experienced line, you don't have to teach a lot. You see daylight, you go. and receivers have to have precision, route running, high point the ball. They've done that. So I like the fact that we have the experience where we do, and some of the places where we don't have it, I think it will come quickly.
Do we have anybody that logged any carries returning at running back?
Logan Smiley played some there. He got some of the relief running when they either took out De'Eric or simply wanted to go a different direction.
Travion
Samuel also would come in, and he would.
So we have a little production coming back. It's not like zero production coming back at the running back.
And both of them, I like their body types. They're compact, they're strong, and I think when you have a line that is going to be as good as ours. I'm going to keep hyping the line because I believe that's going to be something that's going to push us. I think their body type's going to work well because both of them will stick their head in and go between the tackles. And if we're going to have 3 to 4 wide receivers split out anyway, that I think that there's going to be room there to run because you're going to have those linebackers going to have to come out and cover the fourth option. I like one-back sets and even some zero sets based on our personnel.
Well, I mean, you don't have to have, when you talk about your running back position, I mean, it's a luxury when you have a home run hitter that has that breakaway speed that once they get to the second level can take it to the house. That's a luxury. With what what we've traditionally tried to do, having a running back that just help you keep the chains moving, that's what you're looking for.
I'm looking for an offense that takes 5 minutes to score, but I'm okay with that. I mean, I think in these games, especially early, conditioning is going to be a factor, and we have to make a decision. Do we have the players in condition that we want to try to run the other team off the field and gas them? Or do we feel like we need to play a more methodical, not like Murray or anything, not that much, but are we okay with taking 5 to 6 minutes and getting 7 first downs to get that score? Because you have to look at how good do you feel about putting your defense on there for extended periods of time, or do you feel like, no, we need to just go ahead and score as fast as we can and our defense can handle 7-8 minutes at a time on the field. And we're going to talk about the defense. I feel pretty good about our defense too, especially our D-line and linebackers. Got a couple of places to fill in the defensive secondary, but overall, I think we're going to be fine there too. I think we can make stops.
When you think about, look at Central Arkansas and Austin Peay last Saturday night. And, these are college guys who have been conditioning since early June. Those defenses were shot late in the fourth quarter. They were done. So you can only imagine what you're going to get out of a high school team.
Well, they're going to be hyped because it's Crittenden. They're going to be hyped because they didn't know they were going to get a season. And I haven't looked at the 10-day forecast, but the temperature is going to play a lot into that. Now, I hate August football because it's hot. I can't even imagine. I didn't play football. I can't imagine the heat they're going through. But it could almost give these kids a false sense of security if it's cool, because they may not even realize they're getting hot because the air temperature, you've got a lot of things to factor. And I think that's going to get into your game plan is what's the weather going to be like and how can you best handle the emotional roller coaster of that first game. When you look at a team and you look at how they play, Crittenden historically has done a lot with gadget and quote-unquote trick plays. They could try to prey on being overhyped, and our defense is going to have to stay contained and keep this game going because they've got a lot of talent over there.
Yeah, not that I've checked, Chris or Gary or anything, but the weather for next Friday is supposed to be a high of 72 and a low of 55. So
are you just making up numbers?
No, that's actually the forecast for next Friday.
Friday, the 11th.
I've actually looked that far ahead just to see what the weather was going to be for football next week. So that shows you how starved we are for sports. But, it's Tiger Day here at WPKY. Gary Goodaker and Chris George with us right now. And we've been talking about favorite memories throughout the day. So, Gary, I'll start with you. Been on the football sideline almost as long as I have. And what's some of your favorite memories from Caldwell County High School sports?
Oh, my goodness. If I just go to football, I got to go when the guy from the chain gang got threw out at Webster County. That was hysterical. That was my first year. I thought, what have I got myself into? These people are crazy. But there's so many. Obviously, the wins, but the wins aren't everything. I mean, maybe they are to some people, but they're not every memory I have. I mean, sometimes I just remember the fact that you have young men who have come out and given their best. And I guess when seasons end and I see the emotion pour out of the young men and their families, and many of them, that's the last time they put on pads. I think just every time a season ends, I just realize that it's a blessing to get out there for these young men, and they are so dedicated. And I hope that dedication and perseverance goes into their future careers of whatever they truly are called to do, that they put that same fire into their becoming men that they did as they took the journey to manhood, and football being a part of it.
Well, and not just you on the sideline, but you've had a son play for the Tiger football team.
I have had a son play for football, and I've got one playing baseball, and that they have totally different, emotional states. Those are different types of games. But I think the thing that gives me joy is to see that people of different backgrounds, people of different socioeconomic status, people who live in different parts of the town, people who dress differently on Thursday at school, can come together and realize that you can be together with people who are different from you. You don't have to all be the same. You don't have to do everything just like the person down the road, but you can play a part if you're willing to play to your strengths.
Well, I really thought that you were going to say your favorite memory was post-game pizza on Friday night.
Well, I suppose I could have said that, but other things just came to mind before that.
Hey, Chris, what do you remember about all the times at football games?
Well, you asked that, so I start, no preparation ahead of time today for what we were going to talk about. But as I was sitting there listening to Gary, I was thinking, what's my answer going to be? And the one that I think of, one of the first things I think about is the trip to Greene County. And for weeks on Twitter, we told the Druthers people at Greene County, we're taking over your restaurant on a specific Friday night, and they didn't believe us. And the line of Caldwell County folks to go to Druthers was out the door probably 2 hours before game time, and how overwhelmed that Druthers was with the blue and the gold.
Yeah, those poor 3 workers at Druthers in Campbellsville. When 100 people show up from Caldwell County to go to Druthers.
And COVID took
away. They were warned.
And COVID took away. Chris, we were scheduled to go to Campbellsville for high school baseball. I had another trip, and I have to delay it. So we're going to have to look at getting in the schedule. There's plenty of teams that way.
I did not feel sorry for those Druthers workers. They were warned for 2 weeks ahead of time that we were coming.
Well, it's not the workers. They don't have control of their schedule. It'd be the owners.
Well, they should have called in extras.
Yeah,
so
we did tell them we were coming. I mean, that is true. We did tell them, and that was a great trip up to Greene County. But
we've had some great trips. The trip to Bullitt East in '98 for the semifinal. The trip where we took over. It was Fairdale where we played DeSales.
Yeah.
When we had those regional final games, we showed out, and I think that's a testament that these young men know that we're going to follow them. And they know that we can't all be there this year. They know that. But every other year, they know that the Blue Wave is coming.
Well, you think about the state championship game at WKU. People didn't believe leading up to the week that I told people in Bowling Green and Western, Caldwell County is going to take this place over. They're coming. Be ready. And the fact that we practically filled up the new side of the stadium, the lower level, people were just, it's like, oh my God, I didn't believe you. And you said that school travels that well. And I'm like, that's what we do. We take over everywhere we go.
Well, and we had Elijah Sindelar on earlier today. And I told him, I said, if that game's a minute longer, we win the state championship.
A minute, 2 plays longer.
Yeah.
I don't even need a minute.
Yeah, they were
2
gassed.
more plays.
They were gassed. There was no doubt about that. I guess one of my memories are the trips, I think, really. We went to Monroe County, went to, Atwood, Tennessee? Where was that?
Yep, West Carroll.
West Carroll.
Oh, my goodness. Google's
That's your fault, Gary. You're the one that found that game.
I found it for you because I just really needed to know what rural West Tennessee looked like. So now I know, and it's in there.
Well, the Tigers got 2 wins out of that, so nothing wrong with that.
And interesting, did we not play them the first game after September 11th, 2001?
Yes, I think
they were the visitors to us.
They were the
Saturday.
visitors here, and that was pushed back to Saturday. You're right.
So they do have a place in our history, I suppose, other than the 2 wins that you said. But no, the trips are great. We've gotten a lot of places. I mean, we do play local. We got our Crittenden rivalry and our Trigg rivalry, and those are wonderful games. And I like the short trips to people we know we've played in travel baseball or played against them in youth leagues. But the good long trips like to Greene County and Glasgow, those are fun to remember too, because you get a chance to see someone you don't really play very often.
Well, that 2012 run was really impressive because it came on the heels of the Mayfield game where the wheels just completely came off that night. That was the final game of the regular season, and it ended up being just a blowout for Mayfield, and no shame in that. A lot of people have gone to Mayfield and been blown out. But there was such disappointment after that game on the Tiger sideline and in the locker room after the game. And, a lot of people thinking, well, is the team going to win one playoff game? And the next thing you know, we're in Louisville beating up DeSales, and then the next week in Bowling Green playing for the state championship.
At arguably the coldest game we have had in the last decade when we played DeSales. I think I froze, but later thawed. But I do believe I froze that night.
Well, and that was one of those games. Sometimes people say that the passing offense kind of fizzles out a little bit when the weather gets cold or windy or whatever. Caldwell's offense didn't fizzle that night.
No, but you always had Jalen Boyd to run with, so even if it felt like it was, you had somebody back there that could take the rock and take care of things, and he definitely did.
But Gary, you were on the sideline. Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Would be my post-game Facebook Live tirade after the Elizabethtown loss about the missed touchdown that I thought changed the game. I still have heard from some of my officiating friends to this day how wrong I was for all that I said on Facebook Live that night about the terrible officiating. So I still hear about that one to this day.
It was epic, though.
Well, you know how I found out about Facebook Live, Chris, right? Do you remember?
Well, that would be through our Facebook Live?
No, but the first time you ever told me about we're going live.
Oh, really?
That was at the state baseball game. In 2016. I'm sitting there in the stands with you, and we're just covering the ball game. He goes, "We're about to go live," and I looked at you and go, "Live what? We're here." He goes, "Facebook Live." I said, "What's Facebook Live?" I didn't even know. And before I know it, we're getting harassed by KSAA, thinking we're doing play-by-play in the stands and getting looked at with evil eyes, and we have to hide our phones and your 10-foot-long selfie stick. But nobody knows what's going on. So, yeah, Facebook Live has definitely caused me some grief over the years. But at the same time, it's a great tool to get our information out. And so far, Todd, do you still want me to talk on the Facebook Live?
Oh, yeah.
Or am I just going to be on the radio?
We'll work on all those things.
Okay.
Yeah.
I truly don't know if I am still doing games, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten my official letter yet, so I got to know. But I tell you, Chris, you've made a good point that not just people follow physically, but they are in tune with the media. I mean, Todd's tweets, your tweets. I can't tweet, I don't have time. But people are following all over the world.
Yeah, a ton of people watch the live stream. So
yeah, we do. I mean, on Friday night, there are Tigers across the country. They're texting, "What's the score? You hadn't said anything in a while. Todd hasn't said anything in a while on Twitter. What's going on?" Or send us a video. So, the Tiger Nation is coast to coast and border to border, and people love their Tigers. And that's why I think Tiger Day is so great today. I'm really stoked that the community is rallying around this athlete like always.
Well, and talking about memories, Gary and I were down on the field for the 98 state championship team, and Gary, that was another situation where Caldwell County went into a game and not many people gave them much of a chance, but when things were all said and done,
it was a good matchup for Caldwell. Basically, we had an excellent run defense, and they had two excellent running backs. And we talked about this before. Even in football, the bracket, at first you go, oh, they're seeded a certain way, but it's matchups. There are teams that are good matchups against what you do, and there's teams that are bad matchups against what you do. And in football, probably as much as any other sport, you've got to look at the strength of your opponent. You sometimes don't get to do everything you want to do, and you have to decide what you're willing to give up and what you're going to accentuate in your offense. And, if you're a good running team, but that's what they're good at stopping, you may have to figure out what passing plays are going to work. And definitely Danville was the best matchup of those semifinal opponents that we could have had.
Well, and you talk about
and
the
I
trips.
think with that one, Gary, Danville didn't know what they were getting. I refereed a basketball game the night before with a guy from Danville here in Bowling that lived here in Bowling, but he was from Danville, and we were talking about the game, and he was just talking about how great their backs were. And I told him, I said, you all haven't seen a tandem like Stuart Childress and Gerald Fuqua that they can pick how they want to beat you. And a couple of days after the game, he called me up, and he's like, that team's amazing. That he said, you were right. We didn't know what we were in for.
Guys, we need to get to a break here, though. We'll be back with more on Tiger Day. Back after this on 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
Tiger, always a Tiger. Tiger Day on 1580, 103.3 WPKY. Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Brantley Furniture.
From the Weather Edge, this is a special weather advisory.
The National Weather Service has issued a flash flood watch in effect until early tomorrow morning. We could see up to 3 inches of rainfall overnight. Heavy rain showers look to take place this evening, cooling down to 71. Tomorrow, we've got a 50% chance of showers and thunderstorms, a high of 85, and mostly cloudy skies by tomorrow night, cooling down to 66 degrees. Again this evening, a 90% chance of heavy rain showers, and overnight low down to 71. And a flash flood watch in effect for the region until 7 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Goodwin Insurance of Princeton wants to wish all the students a great start back to school. In the words of Dr. Seuss, you're off to great places. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting, so get on your way. And to all the teachers, thank you for the amazing job you do. Have a great start back to school from Goodwin Insurance of Princeton.
At First Southern National Bank, we place a high value on the well-being of our customers and communities. With that in mind, we are taking steps that demonstrate how much we care about you. Our drive-through lanes will be available for daily needs, while in-person services can be scheduled by appointment. Take advantage of our online banking, our mobile banking app, and a friendly team member answering your call. Visit fsnb.net to learn more. First Southern National Bank, member FDIC.
Local businesses have supported us in every regard. Now it's our turn to support them. Here's a way you can help.
This is Beth Mann, President and CEO of the Edge Media Group. In times like these, it's good to know your local business person. The company that fed first responders, the shop that donated goods, the store that served as a drop-off location. Local businesses are the backbone of the community. As we flatten the curve and rebuild, we need you to support local life. Keep our local economy strong with our local businesses. Here today, here tomorrow, we're in this together. Support local.
The Edge Media Group encourages you to support local. Be sure to post what you're doing to show your support. #SupportLocal.
Happy Tiger Day from yoursportsedge.com at 1580 103.3 WPKY.
Tiger Day continues on 1580 103.3 WPKY. Todd Griffin with Gary Goodaker and Chris George will take you up to the 5 o'clock news this afternoon right here on WPKY. And Gary, just talking about Tiger memories, and there's so many. You started talking about trips earlier, and to me, one of the trips that kind of gets lost in the shuffle sometimes is that trip we had to go up to Bullitt East for the state semifinals back in 1998, and those people had their place rocking and thought they were just going to, maybe intimidate the Tigers a little bit. And I think at the end of the first quarter, it was 21-0, but it was blue and gold with the points.
That was my first full year doing this, and I knew that the team was going to have the support. It was just a matter of getting there and getting up there. Lost an hour going up, but I guess it was Thanksgiving weekend, so that got a lot of people off from their priorities of their job and their other commitments, and they were able to get up there and go. And I really was impressed with how we did, hitting them so quick. I do think that was key to winning that game. They were a very talented team, and we got them out of what they wanted to do. And when we got 21-0, one thing we could do is we could run, we could not freeze out ball, but we could shorten the game. Once you get 21-0 after the end of first quarter, you can limit possessions, and we held on.
Well, Caldwell stunned them that night with that quick start.
Yes.
Bullitt East had the light show for their introductions and the fog machines going, and it was just a big-time production, and once the game started, it was all Caldwell there for a while.
It was a good experience for these young men to go through because after winning, they earned the state berth back in Louisville, and I think that game kind of put them over the edge that they thought, well, I can get through that. Let's win one more. Let's not just go to Cardinal Stadium and participate. Let's get the big trophy.
And talking about trips, in 2012, you mentioned the trip up to Louisville for DeSales, and Chris, I'm still not sure I've thawed out from that game, but if I had to pick a cold game, I still have to pick that game at Butler County in the playoffs back when they first opened up the playoffs for 4 teams instead of just 2.
That was cold, too.
Oh, that was a cold night up at Butler County.
Well, to me, it's cold when it's below 70, first off. So you can imagine when we get into those late November games, I go buy Walmart out with hand warmers and everything else because I just can't take it.
We have to leave 15 minutes earlier just for you to dress. We have to factor in that time because the temperature affects his dressing time.
It does. It absolutely does. And how many layers I have to put on.
That is definitely something we're considering. That's going to be a game for me and Leslie. We're going to look at the temperature and guess how many layers Chris wears. And whoever gets closer gets to have the extra piece of pie from the dessert. But I
was saying about the 98 team, so much attention went to Gerald Fuqua as our running back. But, the Tigers were so fortunate to have a Justin Grooms and Jason Fawn back there with Gerald at times. Jason Vaughn and Gerald Bugle, and Justin Grooms would have been the starting running back and the feature back on most high school teams.
But you've got to have that layer of depth, and because to push people, and also it was a different time. Everything wasn't as wide open as it is now.
Yes.
What would Stuart Childress have done in the Barnes offense? He'd been sick.
What would Bradley Stallings have done in this offense?
Either one, yes. It would have been sick what they could have done because they had the weapons, but it was a different time and a different coach.
Yeah.
He played a certain way, and it worked. And one is not superior to the other, but people, they just banged then. They were just, you had upbacks, blockers, and when you have that kind of personnel, you play to it. And I think it made us a strong team. We had the 2 guys on the outside with Wyatt and Davis, and that's the way we played.
Well, you think Jason and Justin were such a compliment to Gerald, who not only had the power but the speed, but you got those two just, like you said, banging 3-4 yards in a cloud of dust with those 2 guys, and then you hit them with a guy who does that, and once he gets to the second level, is going to leave you behind him. I still remember the Hancock County shot that the TV got of as the copter went up, seeing that shot of Gerald busting that one against Hancock County in the playoffs. Just amazing some of the things we've seen and some of the players.
Yeah, that was the 60-30 game. Hancock actually led that game 7-0 and 14-7 because they got the ball first, and their first 2 drives, Travis Atwell led them down the field for touchdowns.
You mentioned Travis Atwell. I was looking on the PBR sites for baseball because Ben plays baseball. There's a Atwell 2025 at Hancock County, so we may not want to schedule Hancock County. I think his son's there, and I don't know how good he is, but if he's half what his dad was, he'd be trouble because he was trouble that game. If he had any more help other than that receiver, he was a bad man.
Chris, how are the Bowling Green schools handling things with the COVID-19? The positivity rate there a little bit higher than it is here. What are you hearing as far as football teams and those kind of things?
Well, I looked at Bowling Green's schedule, and they're playing a juggernaut of a schedule. I haven't really paid attention to the others, but, they went on this hybrid schedule since the 24th of August, and they're still going strong.
Chris, you may not have heard, but we're going back a little earlier than previously scheduled. I believe the 14th, the week of the 14th, depending on if they're a Monday or a Tuesday. So,
I saw that last night. I was interested and kind of surprised to see a decision made to come back early, but most all the schools up this way went back on the 24th. with their hybrid plans. I know Franklin and Glasgow are followed the governor's mandates of the 28th, but most of the others said they felt like they had good enough plans, and they report daily, and the cases seem to be, scattered here or there, but not a major outbreak yet. Same with WKU. They said we had 86 cases on campus last week, which is far lower than what I expected. But just taking it day by day.
Are you hearing anything from your fellow officials who do basketball and the spring sports about how they think that those are going to proceed? Or is it all just, we got to get fall going and we'll worry about them later?
The few people I've talked to about it, Gary, are all just trying to get through the fall. Yeah. I mean, we were, as baseball officials, we were a little concerned if back in July, the thought of them flipping the seasons and us having to get up and going really quick potentially for fall ball. But, of course, that didn't happen. So we weren't sure how we would train and what we would do. But, they chose to go another route, which actually was probably, and for us, the best thing.
Well, you realize, of course, that would have been a difficult proposition. And if they were even going to consider it, it had to be done well earlier than it was even considered. Once you hit about August 1st, it wasn't doable. But I was just wondering if you had people who were thinking about what's going to have to happen to basketball. Are they going to try to delay games till after January 1st?
No, I haven't been any conversations around that.
I figured it's just let's get fall going and we'll deal with the next trouble set later.
This is Tiger Day on 1580, 103.3 WPKY. We appreciate everyone that's come by and made a donation today. You can go online to WPKYonline.com and make a donation there if you would like. Appreciate everyone who's come in and been on the show today. It's been a busy day, and we've been on the air since 8 o'clock this morning, just about, when Tess started with Coffee Talk. So just a lot of people that were willing to come in and be on the air today and talk some Tiger sports and Tiger history with us. And looking ahead to this season, Chris, what kind of expectations do you have for Tiger football, and what kind of season would you like to see?
Well, first off, I just want to see them make it through the season. I think things are so weird right now, maybe, I really haven't put a lot of thought into it, Todd. Like I said, I guess for me, it's just make it through the season and the players be safe and healthy and no one gets seriously injured and be competitive. And, the measuring stick's always going to be Mayfield. And I guess for me, Mayfield being the measuring stick and definitely be Crittenden and Trigg.
I think there's a lot to it, though, that a successful season this year is getting through the season.
Absolutely. Yeah. Leslie and I were talking about the fact that you may play a team with a better record than you, but if you catch them and they're depleted by quarantines and by actually being positive, I mean, there could be some small teams that can't even field a team by the end of the year. They simply don't have the depth. And if you're a young player for Caldwell, if you ever thought next man up, it could be you could find out Friday morning you're now the right tackle, or you're now the running back, or you're now the linebacker. You have to be ready, because we can't take this like a joke. If you're out, you're out.
Yeah, one thing that hurt Austin Peay when Chris mentioned them. Yeah, that's going to be tough. Chris, you mentioned the Austin Peay game earlier. Austin Peay had trouble with snaps on punts. I hear that three of their long snappers tested positive and couldn't play, so they had to move somebody else over there to try to snap it.
And because a lot of colleges and maybe high schools do by position groups, you've got a thing where you could deplete an entire group of a certain player. Like if all the receivers stay together, well, then that's where they would congregate. What if your O-line, what if they are all together and that's how the contact tracing goes? So I don't know if Caldwell separates and said we can't just put all the O-linemen together all the time or all the receivers together all the time, because if the long snappers hang out together in practice groups, that's why all three went like that.
And that was a big difference in that game.
Oh, it was. Absolutely it was.
But it was fun to watch football. It was Austin Peay and Central Arkansas, and it was just fun to pull up a game on TV and you don't know how much you miss something until it's gone. And, I think maybe we all took sports for granted a little bit, and we looked up one day and it wasn't there anymore. And that was a tough realization.
And I know we're butting up against our time at 5 o'clock, but you heard it here first. UK Wildcat football 8-2.
Wow, Gary, what kind of prediction Chris making for us?
I will defer to Chris. I've had so many things going on. I haven't quite got there yet, but I definitely have been looking into at least 7-3, and the bowl structure intrigues me. I mean, what do? Do you just say, hey, everybody makes a bowl and just play them to help those communities out with the financial aspect? Let everyone go to a bowl and let the town have their opportunity to try to make some revenue.
247 Sports said that a lot of the bowls would end up with, 4 and 5 win teams just to fill out the bowls. And one of their predictions was that was a way for the ACC and the SEC to save some of their rivalry games. And 247 predicted Cats, Cards, in the Gator Bowl.
Oh, wow.
I'm writing it down. I'm going to put them right back there.
Hey, Chris, we appreciate you coming. I'm going to say Cats 7-3, so put it down. Hey, Chris, appreciate you coming on today. We're about out of time, but 5 o'clock news is coming up. But any final thoughts before we let you go?
I appreciate any time I can do anything for Tiger Nation. Like I said, I wore my blue and gold today. So next stop, I guess y'all will hear me on the sideline live with Todd and Gary.
That's Chris George and Gary Goodaker. Any final comments?
This has been the afternoon drive with Todd, Chris, and Gary at 5 o'clock. We're up time for the news. Back on 104.9.
Got to get an update first, though, from Heather, who's in here. And Heather, how have things been going as far as the fundraising?
Yeah. So we still have people coming in, making their donations. So I just wanted to go over that again in case you guys are just tuning in. So I want to give a big shout out to our corporate sponsors. Those are First Southern National Bank, Farmers Bank, Planters Bank, Cortner Gas, Parker Eye Care, Goodwin Insurance, Taco John's in Gather on Main, DC Plumbing, and Morgan's Funeral Home. Our corporate sponsors have given donations of $1,000 or above. And those corporate level sponsors will have a few added things given to them, some advertising a little bit from us, and some different things that the school's giving to them. So if you have some questions about what all that entails and how you could be a corporate sponsor, you can give me a call at 625-5985. That's 625-5985, or you can give me a call here at the station. I'll be here until 7. You can also donate. Bring your check or cash by. Write your checks to Caldwell County High School. You can bring that by here at the station until 7 o'clock tonight. I do see that it is raining quite a bit outside. I don't mind to get wet. I do that a lot of times on the sideline at football games. So just pull up right into here, the front of the station. If you don't want to get out, I'll run out to your car and get that donation from you. So bring those donations on down to the station, or you can donate online at our deals page. Go to WPKYonline.com. Go to our deals page. Go to Tiger Day, and you can donate with your credit card or debit card. Or you can go to our Facebook page. It's pinned at the top. You can find the link there. It'll take you straight to our deals page and our Tiger page. So thank you to everybody who's given today. I'm overwhelmed and humbled by Caldwell County and the support they have given to our kids. And the money that's come in so far has been great. So I'm so thankful for that, and thankful for the people who love our kids and love the Caldwell County Tigers. And I hope to see more people come in.
The news is next here on 1580 103.3 WPKY.
More than history, it's a legacy. Tiger Day on WPKY. 1580 103.3 WPKY. Princeton.
News, I'm Rich Dennison. President Trump taking aim at his opponent while meeting with supporters in North Carolina today.
Joe Biden, he doesn't have a clue. We can't let it happen to our country. We're making strides.
Former Vice President Joe Biden criticizing the president for his handling of the coronavirus pandemic.
He's offering